Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. As we've done for a week or so, let's make tribute to this moment of beginning our day. So we'll invite you to join the simultaneous sip of Scott Adams, may he rest in peace. A man who found God in his final days. Said he wanted to keep that part of it private, trying to understand what the simulation is when the simulation winks at us. What is all this? What does it mean? He said, I'm accepting Jesus Christ into my heart. And he also talked about the pragmatism of doing so. Like, if there's nothing on the other side, I'm not out anything. And if there is, I'll see you there. That's the only sales pitch you need. You don't need to behead people. You don't need to cover their face up like a ghost at Halloween. You just put it out there, make your sales pitch. Here's what I believe. Hope to see you there. But for Scott Adams, the simultaneous sip, the honorary simultaneous sip, if you'd like to participate, you can grab your mug, the New American Media mug. You know how to get these, right? If you want one, let me know. But you grab your mug and participate in the tribute to the Scott Adams simultaneous sip. All you need is a cup or mug or a glass, a tankard, chalice, or stein, a canteen, jug, or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee, and join me now for doggone it, and join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip, and it happens now. Go. Double sip. Ooh, that's good sipping. I knew what to say. My mouth didn't say the things that I knew to say. On today's program, we're going to discuss the first year after President Trump's second term. We're a year in, and the president is on a global stage setting things right. No, Greenland's not about a dictator, and it's not about world conquest. It's about the promises unmade, the promises made, the delivery kept, the results unkept. Well, the area and the defense and all of the upkeep unkept. It's about setting things right. It's about rebalancing the global structure. Much like we're finding in Minneapolis, much like we're finding across the nation wherever Democrats are involved, it's about following the money. And America has been looted, pillaged for a very long time. And now it sure seems like things are changing on the global stage. The Marxism of the Obama doctrine being replaced with rugged American exceptionalism. Is it being unfair to others? Is it being a bully? Because I'm generally against bullies and bully tactics. Or is it fair? Many would argue it's fair, at least to some degree. Nothing's fair. And I mean, I get it. Everybody's got a right to complain. Everybody has a right to do your thing on the side. But if all you're offering are complaints and you're not improving anything, you're not acknowledging good being done while you're complaining that it could be done better. If all your complaints are just, nothing's happening correctly. I wake up every day, all I feel is rage. I don't understand how that's being helpful, especially when the thing you're feeling rage about is just common sense stuff that you're on the wrong opinion of. I guess nobody thinks they're wrong. And that's what this stems from. The Scott Adams piece used by Akira the Don in that music. If you go on YouTube, type in Akira the Don, Scott Adams, Norm Macdonald. And there's a segment where Scott Adams is remembering how Norm Macdonald said, you know, a lot of our problems, it's not because it's good versus evil. And it's not that it's evil versus evil. That's the problems on this world. It's that it's good versus good. Maybe most people think that they're the good guys. And I guess one of my biggest points is, if all you're doing is griping and complaining, ICE. If you're only complaining about ICE is that, oh, well, this bad thing happened, and that bad thing happened, and there's this bad thing that happened, and this wasn't done right, and this could have been handled better, and can you believe that happened? Okay. So take those 5 complaints away. What else are we talking about? What is your suggestion to make sure this isn't happening? Because in these blue cities, they're not turning over the known illegal alien dirtbags to ICE to remove. So the whole operation has to be much more complicated. What is your solution? That we don't have ICE? We don't have a bouncer at the door of the nightclub? That's a non-starter. Walk me through your idea of how that's a violation of our civil liberties, that we have the right to know who's in our country and why they're here. You're damn right we do. Some people don't think so. And I think we're on tomorrow's show. We intend to have a conversation about that topic. I believe we have one guest confirmed, another guest likely, and then another guest coin flip. We might have a 4-person round table on ICE and what the Democrats have done to flood this nation with people unvetted, from parts unknown, intentions unknown, criminal history unknown. Unacceptable. Everybody, they have had a full year now to take the CBP. What did they used to call it? CBP 1? They changed it to CBP Home, Customs and Border Patrol. If you were here illegally and you know you snuck in, you don't have your paperwork in order, they'll get you a flight home. I think $1,000. You've had a year to take them up on this offer. Maybe that came out a couple months in. You've had 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. I don't know. We're into year 2 now. If you know you're in a place illegally, I know if I'm in a place illegally. I know if I'm in a place visiting. I'm not a citizen, a vacationer that stayed too long, overstayed a visa. What, you're trying to slip into the country, trying to assimilate, you're trying to vote. We don't know what you're a sleeper cell for China, a sleeper cell for Russia or Ukraine, a sleeper cell for Palestine or Israel. I don't want any sleeper cells in this country. I don't want a single child diddler. I don't want a single murderer. I don't want a single monster with a shitty criminal history sneaking into this damn country, and I have every right to say so. And so in the details, you might disagree with the execution of some policy. You might disagree that, well, they can't do that. They can't do that. They can't tell me in the law, this is violation of this and that. What is your plan to remove every one of the people that snuck in? I'm all ears. All right, now that you've laid out a list of your complaints, I've heard them. I don't need to defend them. I'm defending the broader principle of having national sovereignty over the place that you reside, over the place that matters, over the place that you vote. You have sovereignty over your homeowners association. You put people in positions, you put laws and guidelines in place. And if you're going to be in that group, you have a general understanding of what you can and can't do. That is basic. No, there is not a universe in the multiverse that could convince me we must take in a child abuser. Nope. I don't want a single one. Ask Lake and Riley. There's a laundry list of Americans who have been ended permanently by people who had no business being here. No business. Should have been weeded out. Should have never happened in the first place. That is why ICE is important. That's why ICE is necessary. That's why ICE is going to be there, is going to stay there, why it's non-negotiable. So if you want to discuss some tactics, if you want to say they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that, are you willing to say that every sanctuary city, every blue city that's blocking the ICE efforts that they weren't blocking under Obama, by the way, this is seems to be a fairly uniquely Trump thing, just to get in the way and cause chaos for political gain. The party that's polling at roughly 17% needs you to see chaos and division because the orange man is so bad. No, the Democrats are creating this, as they did in the 2020 riots. The Summer of Love, they called it. Remember Minneapolis then? Tim Walz was shooting people. Had what was that, the National Guard? What group was that? I remember the video from the Minneapolis front porch. Get in on your porch. You're not allowed to be on your porch. And they're shooting tear gas, pepper spray at people during COVID. You recall that, right? You remember how Minneapolis burned and they encouraged it and threw gasoline on the fire because they thought that they could gin up some support to oust President Trump that way. They wanted to burn America down and govern over the ashes. Remember the Minnesota Freedom Fund? Kamala Harris and others were encouraging donations to this fund so that they could bail out violent rioters who were burning down their nation, down their local communities, their cities, their neighborhoods, their businesses. They were encouraging that. They were fueling that. They were funding that. They were pushing that. The Democrat Party has become a party of domestic terrorism. And it's been that way for quite some time. The stuff that's happening in Minneapolis. Oh, it started because of that Renee Good. Who told this person they should be blocking traffic, honking the horn, impeding an ICE investigation? Who told this person to drive their vehicle, their 4,600-pound vehicle, at full speed, gun it, pedal to the metal, spinning out the tires to lurch forward and hit an ICE officer who fired his revolver in self-defense? Who encouraged that? The wife, the girlfriend, the person that was yelling, "Drive, baby, drive"? The driver herself who put the life of her dog in danger? Just a dog sitting there in the back of the vehicle while she... I haven't heard that the dog's injured. That was quite a car crash. Who created that? Why are the Democrats pushing that? And why are some libertarians pushing that? Nope, can't have ICE. You got to block them. You need to get in their face. You need to yell at them, call them Nazis and Gestapo. See, this is the same stuff you were against with Obama, but now you're in favor of it with Trump. Show me where that is the case. That is certainly not the case. So these are some of the topics we're going to discuss on tomorrow's program. The ICE Roundtable. At least myself and Dan Johnson. Maybe somebody and maybe somebody else. I'll keep you posted. But it's time to have uncomfortable conversations. It's time to lay all of our cards on the table and talk about them. You know? And if it's, gotcha. Did you see about this 75-year-old person and he's been here for 40 years? And could you support that? Do you support that? Are you a Nazi? Are you a Nazi? Are you a bad Christian? Are you a bad Christian? Are you a fake Christian? You could take an incident of one person and say, I'm open to discussing that. I don't know. Set that one aside. All right. What else you got? Yeah, but if you support that, you support all of it. And it's happened all over the place. Let's lay another specific case out and ask me a direct question. Would I like to see that happen? No, I didn't want to see that Renee Good situation happen. You should never block the roads impeding a federal investigation and then gun your 4,600-pound vehicle and hit an ICE officer, an ICE agent. No, I'd never want to see that. I didn't want to see it the first time. I don't want to see it a second time. See, you're in favor of that because that's what happened. That's what happens if you're gonna. No, that's what you and your side did. I didn't want to see that. David, you're right. What's to talk about? They're there just to enforce the law. And the law is pretty simple. You check in on the way in. Show your ID at the nightclub door. Check the list. See if you're on the do not let in list. Check your criminal history. Pay your cover charge because you got to learn English. You got to stay off our welfare. We got to get regular check-ins with you or else you become a criminal alien inside the country that hasn't checked in a month or whatever. There's got to be a legit process with real oversight and protection so that we're not robbed, that we're not harmed. People driving with commercial driver's license, can't speak English, can't read the signs on the road. That is not safe for America. I want all of that done. Biden, the puppet of Barack Obama, literally lifted the razor wire, I believe it was in Texas, to just let hordes of millions of people flood it. Nobody knows from who, from where. And that was from the same party that said everyone must take your shot or you can't participate in society. Take this experimental medicine and take it now. All these people, I don't know. Maybe they're sick, maybe they're not. It's all good. Masks, no masks. carriers currently say, it's a pandemic. Let them all in, let them all in, let them all in. Because they figured out, because of John Roberts on the Supreme Court, John Roberts, maybe can treason apply to a Supreme Court justice? And can we look into Roberts? From Obamacare to this one. Oh, yeah, you can't ask citizenship when doing the census to determine how many members of Congress represent a district in Washington, D.C. Are you out of your mind? Of course you can. It's like the only thing you ask. It's the only thing you don't ask, you determine. So how are we running the census and the representation that's coming out of the squad? Ilhan Omar. Did she marry her brother? Did she not? I don't know. People are saying it. It hasn't been proven to me yet, but it seems to be known. And if it's known, why are there no arrests? That's an ongoing frustration in the MAGA movement. What in the world is Pam Bondi doing a year later? Grand conspiracy. Oh, really? Because it looks like you don't care. Looks like there's nothing there. I know things take time, but for the love of God, do something. Or else they're going to keep doing this shit again. Seems obvious. So a year later, we have to talk about the things that are going well, the things that are not going well. But Greenland's a part of setting things right. Fixing the border, ICE, is part of setting things right. America's been getting taken advantage of and robbed and abused and hated, mocked and ridiculed in the process of being looted and plundered. Just feels like there's a new energy defending this group. Not some puppet installed there to usher out as many trillions as possible. America be damned, country be damned, nation be damned. It's all just mafia. It's all just mob. It's all just cartel. It's all just elite ruling societies. Whatever you want to call it. It's all just banksters. The 1%. It seems obvious to me that America has been getting our ass kicked for a very long time. And it seems like there's a new sheriff in town on the global stage. So we're going to play today's program, digging into Trump a year later. We're going to talk about what other people are talking about, play you stuff off of our Instagram feed. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. We are The New American Media. Hit like, hit subscribe. Do it now. Click out of comments, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. Drop all your comments in. I'll try to get to them, as you know I do after the opening monologue here. Every day, Monday through Friday, noon to 3, usually. I run my own ship, so I reserve the right to, some days you have other things and you can change the schedule a little bit because that's how life is. I know people expect you to always be available 9 to 5. It's like, that's just not how things work. You got an interview, you have an appointment, you have a meeting, you have a scheduled call, you got to meet the cable guy to fix the internet, or you got to meet with a vendor or contractor to repair something, and they can only do it a certain time. That's life. That's life. And we're also occupied with all just the daily things, that the big things we've been getting wrong as a nation for a really long time. And the Democrats push this fake division bullshit. Everybody's against a criminal unless you are a criminal. Okay? So defend your criminals now. Tell me. Just, that's the sentence. Everybody's against the criminals unless you are a criminal. So defend your criminals. Go. We have a decision to make as a nation. We got midterms coming up. We got to figure out if we're going to pass the SAVE Act and restore sanity to our elections. I love the idea of this. I hear, we should make it a national holiday on voting day. And then everybody votes in person. It's super easy. We're not doing this mail-in ballot crap. None of this digital, it's connected to the internet. It's not connected to the internet. It's an algorithm. It's a computer system. It's totally proprietary information, and you can't run a full forensic audit. Yeah, I'm good. No thanks. Pass. That being said, make voting day President's Day. What a perfect day to put President's Day on the day that you select your presidents. Make it always the first Tuesday of November or whatever. It's a great idea. Everything slows down. Everybody has extra time. You can prepare. Maybe you can pre-sign up for a pre-approved line at like the 9 to 10 o'clock hour. You just kind of, if there is a line, you get fast pass access, like based on your name and when you sign up and when you're available. Like, let's improve the system. I want to improve all of our systems. No, that's not. Everybody gets a vote mailed out to random addresses, and there's no proof of life check. No, that's not some Polish guy living in your neighborhood. Proof of life check. But I'm all for improving systems. I'm starting to lose energy for the constant complainers with no solutions. Let's come up with ways to make things better, or please shut the front door on your way out. The adults need to get to work. So these are the topics we're going to cover on today's show and more. So buckle up. This is the TNAM Daily Show.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you all so much for being here. Let's do the actual intro. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Greenland. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2025. And this right here, the thing that you are watching, let's put it up on the screen. The TNAM Daily Show right here on the New American Media. Of course, it wouldn't be a show if I didn't get to go into theme and change it from air to base. I know it doesn't look like much to you, but it's annoying to me. If I change a setting, it's like driving a vehicle. If I set the height or the distance from the gas pedals, if I get back into the vehicle, I don't want it changed away from what I just set it to. If I change the channel on the radio, if I turn on a channel, if I connect it to a Bluetooth, keep it where I set it. Why is Restream always resetting the theme? It switches to air and you can see through it. And it's not great. But such is life. But it is beautiful that we get to broadcast to the globe, that we are our own bosses, in that we get to be producer, engineer, on-air talent, all of it at once. It is quite an endeavor. There's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of things that we must purchase. So if you enjoy the TNAM Daily Show and the New American Media, our donation links are at the bottom of the screen. Our Patreon is up there. You can sign up for like $10 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month. Some of you have more money than time. I've been trying to give you 15 years of insight, access, entertainment, and interesting just interesting thoughts, interesting conversations, interesting perspectives. The day is consumed with this. This is the full-time job, but if you can't compensate yourself like a full-time job, you got to do other things. So it is what it is, and it's highly dependent upon your advertising, your sharing this show to friends. Please help pump this content out, share it, copy it, send it on Facebook Messenger to everybody that's smart. Not your dumb friends. They might not like the show. Text it to some of your friends or family. But the two main channels that we are on are Rumble. You can do a monthly subscription on Rumble. Thank you to those who have, and thank you to those who may do it today. Just click to sign up for a monthly contribution on Rumble. It's a great way to support the show, as well as Rumble Rants. You just get to throw some tips into the guitar while I'm out here playing songs on the street corner. Down on the corner, out in the street. Bum, 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 bum. Early in the... All right, I'm going to stop saying Creedence Clearwater. But yeah, we play our guitar. If you want to throw some tips in, we have Rumble Rants on Rumble. We also have Super Chats on YouTube, as well as monthly subscriptions on YouTube. Great ways to help the show. Really great ways to help the show. As of today, we have surpassed our support from November. November was one of the leaner months, and we are in, super striking distance of October. I'm looking at the analytics here, how much we're earning in the last 6 months. We've had this enacted since September, and it's necessary, it's crucial, it's helpful. It's so appreciated. Just step one, break even with all of the multi-thousands of dollars required every year for operating costs. That's step one. Then step two is turn it into something that becomes your full-time living. That is the goal. It definitely is. And we get there by growing the show. You got to tell your friends, share the content, and engage in the conversation. So all of those things are listed at the bottom of the screen as reminders, as well as, I think I mentioned, if you want a mug, they're $40. Shoot me a Venmo. It includes shipping, and put your address in there. Give us your address and $40, and we will ship you out a New American Media mug. If you want a set of 4 wooden coasters for our sports show, they're $30 a piece. There's 4 in here. Ohio-made wooden drink coasters. 2 for $50 if you want to order them together, or 3 for $75. The pins are $25 for the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. We did our program yesterday, Strictly Football. That's with myself, Mike Barrett, Jim Mitchell, and Ezrael Robinson. Strictly Football, brought to you by the Unhappy Hour Sports Show here on the New American Media. We only have 3 games left in the NFL. That's kind of wild. But if you look outside, by the way, how's the weather treating you? Let me pull up your comments, your chat. But I was saying, finally, so that's the merch, and we also have PayPal and what's the other one? PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo, if you want to drop a donation that way. Hook up your boy. Much appreciated. How's the weather where you're at? Yeah, there's only 3 games left to be played, 2 conference games, and then the Super Bowl. So it's the end of an era. Season 2, episode 27 or 28 dropped yesterday. Check it out. We love getting together and just talking football. It's sort of been the right amount of football for me to cover this year. I could have gotten really in-depth on the Browns, but it's so frustrating. I'm good. Hello to you over there in our Rumble chat, Patriot Warrior, Mighty Trash Pandas. Challenge to everyone, if you're watching the show, at least bounce over to Rumble, hit the like button, and drop us a comment. It's a great way to let the algorithm know that people are paying attention. People like the show. David says he's had an hour of snow falling for about an hour now where he's at. Yeah, you could say the same here. Really thick snow, too. Is it a weather weapon? Or is it January in the United States? Kenneth's like, what the hell are you talking about? 68 degrees here. Yeah, exactly. No, not strictly footwear. It's strictly football. But thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate that. No, and it's the Rumble app, not Tumble. So thank you for... Kenneth is saying my personal restream is now unpredictable. Oh, you're... Okay. Was that a urology? Is that the right phrase? Urologist? Is that a urology joke? David says Trump sounded like the Godfather this morning. In what way do you say that? Please elaborate on how Trump sounded like the Godfather this morning. Hello, Marion. Welcome in the comments. Everyone hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend, Rumble, Rant, Super Chat. Marion says, shouldn't they ban vehicles to keep them from running over people? Kind of like banning guns. Yes. You know, it's just common sense vehicle control. If we're just looking for common sense legislation, say the Democrats who love to enable cheating, who love to burn the cities down, and they don't want the good people to be defending themselves. Yeah, they would love a disarmed populace to abuse, wouldn't they? Never vote Democrat. Don't let your friends vote Democrat. But yeah, David, that was your point earlier. What is there to talk about ICE? They're there to enforce federal law. There's people that think that there should be no federal law. You can't like have borders, man. You can't like own a potato. You gotta be like libertarian, like everyone makes your own decisions. Oh, so anyone can vote the leader of your party? No, you got to be in the group. Oh, so you mean you have like restrictions and borders around your group? And then you kind of put your own perspective person up there? Well, yeah, but that's totally different. No, it's totally the same. Yeah, well, you're a bad Christian. You're a fake Christian. True or false? Non-Christian, who I'm not going to take criticisms from about my Christianity. Does heaven have a wall? Does heaven have a gate? Is there a gate at heaven, or is anybody allowed in? You're like a fake Christian. You want me to bend over and hold my ankles while you have your way with me? I never read that in my book. Thank you very much, non-Christian. I appreciate your concern telling me what I am and what I am not. However, get bent. Get bent. Lake Leon says, yes, he did, David, about Trump sounding like the Godfather, kicked ass and took names. Hello, John Brenneman. No ad. There should have been an ad. Wasn't there an ad when the show started today? Now you got me triple checking. I know I clicked it. Yeah. The video is being monetized. You're saying you were watching on YouTube, but you didn't get an ad? Lake Leon, is that what you said? I hope that's not the case. Yeah, good morning or a snowing, blowing afternoon. Look, TNAM preparedness. I just want everyone to be extra careful, extra prepared, extra safe out on the roads. It's dangerous right now. Act accordingly. I'm not a super big fan of the traction on the tires of the vehicle right now. I got to figure out what to do with that. I got to find out if the tread has worn inappropriately or if they're crappy tires or what. But like when it gets slick, those back wheels do not, they don't grip. Maybe I need some weight back there. I don't know. I don't think you do. It's never a bad idea, but anyway, something to keep in mind. Be careful if you're out there traveling, okay? All right. Let's see. David says, Trump said directly to NATO and Europe, please give the United States Greenland now, and there won't be any problems. And he's laying out the case. He's like, we gave this back to you. We should have never done that. You said you were going to maintain it. You said you were going to defend it. You're not doing any of the stuff. So either take on the debt of what we've spent over the last 70 years on it, or it's ours because we're the ones doing it anyway. Is that a fair point? I don't know. It kind of sounds like a fair point. All right. Marion says, I got an ad. Lake Leon says that is correct. No ad. Did you guys get ads when you played the show today? Did an advertisement pop up? They should have. I would not like to learn that YouTube is still playing their stunts. Although I did have a video that was banned get relisted. It came back. The flag burning video on Inauguration Day a year ago, they put it in a age-restricted group. I'm like, it's a flag. It's an inanimate object. There was nobody harmed. I appealed it, and they agreed, and they gave it back. These little things were insurmountable during the Biden years. They did everything imaginable to make sure that you couldn't speak your mind. That's why it's just so important that you're all kind of connected on these various platforms. such as Rumble. So, all right. Yeah, tell me if you got an ad. David got an ad. Okay, that's good. Kenneth got an ad for some plaid pants. Rad. Dave says, I'm actually not sure if Trump said please, more like do me a favor. Do me a favor. Let me get this. Let me defend Europe. Let me defend this corridor. It's going to be Russia, China, or the United States. It's on our hemisphere. We have Alaska here. It's the other passageway. We can help with this. We're setting up the infrastructure of the Golden Dome. You want us to pay for your defense all the damn time anyway. We need to put it here in order to do so. You have all these nuclear submarines parked off the west coast. When you look at the top of the map, it's like, what is a west, northeast, south? It's all just flat, and you're around it. You're in it. Nuclear submarine fleets parked off of the coast of both sides. No oversight. You want to take it over by Russia or China? Like, that's just not something we can allow here. With America, continental America, Alaska, Canada in between, this is like the main thing that we have to. That's the conversation. So let's get to some of the conversations, shall we? Go to our Instagram page. We want more followers on our Instagram page. Got to figure out how to do so. They wouldn't let me go live. They took it away. I thought about doing this stream on there, and they said, what's my hair doing, by the way? I don't know. I said something a little different with my haircut. I said keep it a little longer, but now it's a little unruly. It's all right. It's whatever. But follow us on Instagram. It's where you're going to get a sneak peek of what we talk about on the TNAM Daily Show. Let's go ahead and share the screen with you. Typical liberal shared this and said, this is wild. A Bell 206 helicopter lost control, crashing in the Uinta Mountains in Wasatch County, Utah on Sunday. Let me rewind this. Whoa, I guess I got another story back here that I wanted to get. Oh, it's this one. Here, let's do it again. Full screen. I mean, those trees might have ended up saving their lives. The reports say that all 4 passengers survived. Okay. That could have been a lousy vibe story to get started with, but all right. Someone says, why use snowmobiles when you can just run over? Yeah, the trees really did likely save them there. But yeah, question of the day. Tell us what's the weather like. We're here in Florida's fantastic. Ontario is getting hammered. Yep. Midwest getting hammered. What's it like in Texas? Where else? Chime in. Where are you watching the show from today? Type it in the comments. Just be safe out there in the snow. All right, here's President Trump. He brings out this whole list of accomplishments, and just for effect, he'll tell you what's in them, or you'll get the gist of it.
These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world. Here's the book.
And I think more so than any one particular thing, listen to the weight of the papers.
These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world. Here's the book.
I mean, the man knows how to make a point. He definitely knows how to make a point. And a year later, we've put a lot of broken Humpty Dumpty pieces back together. Thank you, President Trump, for some of these things. Thank you. We could not survive any more of this Democrat lunacy. There was so much that needed to be completely reversed, and those Democrats can never be trusted with any power ever again. It's that party needs to be completely dismantled, in my opinion. Yeah, I was talking about flattening the globe, and then it's like, what's up, what's down, what's north, east, west, south. I don't know. The world is not flat. If it was, cats would have knocked everything off the edge. Yeah, I love that. There's like a map of the earth laid out, and it's a cat knocking into was it Australia or something? But yeah, flat earth, it's like, pfft, all I know is there's a lot of lies about everything, so anything could be possible, says David. Of course, we've been lied to about everything else. Don't eat Don Lemon's snow. Don't eat yellow snow. There's a good joke in there, too. It's 3 p.m. in Greenland and 24 degrees. Oh. I'm thinking about moving up to Greenland. I don't know, how long do you have to be there to catch that 100,000 payout? Would I set up base in Greenland and like build a new society up there? How fun would that be? Be a founding member of a new nation? I mean, I know it's an existing nation, but it's like, not really. The beginning of an expansion? I mean, sounds kind of cool. To level it up, fix it up, renovate the place. Well, this is the story people seem to be loving to talk about today. This is Brett Cooper reacting to the outrage surrounding Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, Sneeko Clavicular, Myron Gaines after their nightclub appearance where a banned song was reportedly played.
At the club play Kanye's song that I will call NHH. And I am sure you know what that is. And suddenly, after seeing that, everyone logged online to comment and condemn. The club responded. They put out a long statement saying that they are striving to be inclusive and they are standing against anti-Semitism. The ADL commented and made a statement. The mayor of Miami got involved, and that anti-Semitism and hate speech or the normalization of extremist ideology has no place in our Miami Beach community, our nightlife, or any public setting. And it is completely true that he thinks it has no place in Miami. That is
so. All right, man, Brett Cooper talks fast. I've actually wondered if Ben Shapiro cloned himself, and this is the female Ben Shapiro. She talks very fast. They look very similar. I've never seen them in the same place at the same time. I mean, if you just take their face, they look like a similar person, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying I actually believe that, but for the first 6 months I ever knew this Brett Cooper, I'm like, that's Ben Shapiro in a wig, right? Like, that's literally him. Like, that is him, right? Like, what are we watching? What is this? What are we watching? Talking really fast. The point is, they went out to the club, they played the Kanye song where you're not supposed to make the salute about the 1930s guy from Germany. Kanye did that song, released it a year ago, half a year ago, something like that. They go to the club and the song is played and it triggers an international incident.
fine, and it is true that he is taking it very seriously. In fact, he allegedly has officers going door to door in Miami checking on people who have posted things about him online on Facebook that the mayor of Miami deems anti-Semitic.
Is that your account?
I refuse to answer questions without my lawyer present. So I really don't know how to answer that question either way.
Like I said, you're not going to...
And we covered this before. This guy is a terrible interrogator, a terrible investigator. There's ways to get people to talk, and there's ways to just shut it down. This guy just shuts it down intentionally, like he wants to shut it down. Which, should he even be there in the first place, is the better question. I'm just commenting on the efficacy of the guy's methods, not supporting or denouncing the efforts or the plan to do so. You know, it's like you don't want to give the enemy any advice, but he's not good at this.
Freedom of speech. This is America.
Not that he is an enemy, but we also have freedom of speech, so it makes him an enemy. So maybe he knows that and he doesn't want to do it, which is why he's not bringing more questions back. It's just a very weird scenario all around, essentially. So where do you stand? Love the Jews, hate the Jews, protect the Jews, don't give a shit about the Jews. Which one? It's one of my least favorite topics, along with racism. Who cares? Be a good human. Just be a good human. Yeah, well, my version of God is so different than yours. I don't care what you're into. What I care about is if you're trying to come here and force me to participate in whatever it is you're into. You can be into your thing, but you're not allowed to use force or coercion or confusion to warp the minds of kids or to forcibly convert or steal from other people who you don't agree with. It's very basic shit that I believe.
This mayor has even threatened to evict a movie theater for trying to play an Oscar-winning movie that he also deemed anti-Semitic. It's not helping your cause. And to that point, all of these statements, I do not think that these streamers care. They actually kind of love it. Like, post all you want, attempt to cancel them even more. They will only get bigger. I will give you an example. I'm thinking back to 2 years ago. I had never even heard Nick Fuentes' voice or seen clips.
Same.
From his show until the Daily Wire and Jeremy Boring used clips of him in the presentation that they gave all of us employees after they fired Candace, which is not proprietary information. Steven Crowder leaked that information recently, but I only heard from him, like I only saw clips because people were using him as this negative example. And the funny memes and the videos that are, popping up on Instagram Reels and TikToks, they only started circulating and going viral the more that everyone freaked out about him. If Nick Fuentes is actually on this generational run, if my mom and my friends' moms are even seeing his videos and talking about him, he can thank the Streisand effect for pointing at him and going, "Don't watch, this is bad." Everyone's gonna go look and see what is actually so bad and terrible. Anyway, back to the point about the clubs and the condemning and Kanye's song. If I am not mistaken, and I am treading on treacherous territory here, but you're kind of proving the point of Kanye's song. And I'll probably get heat for this, but I don't really care at this point. Like, on the surface, yes, you can say that this song is gross. It is disrespectful. You can say that it was made by psychotic Kanye, whatever you want. But Kanye's argument, allegedly, for releasing it was that you can rap and sing about killing and shooting people. You can hype up black on black crime. You can throw slurs at white people. You can sing the N-word, and all of that is celebrated. It wins Grammys. It is.
All of that poison is celebrated. Allowed, celebrated, pushed, peddled, encouraged. Pretty sure Anomalies talked to me about that dealing with record execs and people sort of wanted him to put a certain type of music promoting certain type of garbage. Lifestyle out there. The crime and the violence and the stuff that she just said right there. It's very known that this has been not just allowed, but encouraged / required out of Hollywood.
Is played at clubs and bars, but this song specifically gets you pulled off of Spotify, gets you condemned by the mayor of Miami. They had the club play Kanye's song that I will call an HH, and I'm sure you know what that is. And suddenly, after seeing that,
this just reset, right? That was the beginning. I wish Instagram would do a better job of letting you know when a clip resets.
Everyone logged online to comment.
Yeah, that was the beginning of it. People are talking about it. What say you? They're sending people around. Thought police. There's music in the back of this, but I want to show you this. An angry man rages and almost starts a riot, and what happens next will shock you.
Kiss my fucking ass. Suck my...
There's random music here, so I can't play it. But watch this. This guy's like raging and swearing at this dude. A street preacher. Cussing and threatening and pointing and this.
God bless you, sir. Fuck you, bitch. Jesus Christ loves you.
And there's too much music, which I can't play.
It's okay. I got you.
Any of these you wonder, is it a skit?
God bless.
I can't play it. He's trying to break up a fight with these guys. It's all right. I got it. Come on. Shut down the music and let's play.
All right, man. God bless you, man.
He's calling him an antagonist, not a peacemaker.
God bless you.
He just keeps saying, God bless you.
Bless you, sir. I love you, man. I care about you.
Fucking love me.
I care about you, sir.
Scott, you don't care
I
about
can look.
This angry guy. I love you. I care about you. He's like, you don't care about
in
me.
your eyes and tell you I care about
You're
you.
not, you fucking hate my
Ah, this stupid piano. You know, here's what I would like. I would like the option on the reel itself, or the reel, the story, whatever you want to call it, where I could click to take the music out. Because it's a sneaky way for these copyright claims to happen. It's a sneaky way to make money online. You share a clip that goes viral, but you got sneaky music in the back, and if someone plays it, bam, you get to go steal their monetization. But I do want to play this.
Christ, brother. God bless you. Can I pray for you? Can I pray for you? I can pray.
He asks, can I pray for you? I'm trying to chop it up enough so there's not enough notes in succession. So frustrating. You know, it's so frustrating when you're treated like a child. It's so unnecessary. But then he says, can I pray for you? Which is nice. This is the part I'm trying to get to.
Pray for you?
Yeah, you can
All
pray.
right.
Yeah, go
What's your
ahead.
name? What's your
You
name?
do
What's your
that.
name?
Go
What's your
ahead.
name?
John.
Gets his name. Can I pray for you? And I think it's a pretty good one.
John. Father in heaven, I pray for John Repstock right now.
And it totally changes the dynamics of what's happening here.
I pray that this anger may flee from him right now in Jesus' name. I pray that he will have a softened heart to your gospel. I
just want to hear the whole thing. You know this. That he have a softened heart to hear the gospel.
pray that he will just feel the love of Jesus Christ that we are trying to preach. And I just pray that he will have a heart of flesh and not a heart of stone, oh God. And
That he have a heart of flesh, heart of stone, oh God. It really is a praying the right way is a talent, and it takes practice. I wish I would like to be better at this. I would like to level up a little bit.
I pray that you use him to be a testimony, to be a light that shines in the darkness. So I thank you for this encounter, Lord, and I pray that you bless him and protect him in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you, sir.
Pretty solid. Going from an argument to that, and then he says,
That was a nice prayer.
God bless you.
Actually, that was a nice prayer.
Thank you. God bless
that was a nice prayer. Thank you.
bless you.
That was a good job.
God bless you.
Actually, that was a good. That was,
For sure.
That was a nice prayer.
For sure.
Totally changed his heart.
You see, I care about you, John. My name is Lou. My name is Lou, by the way.
Lou?
Yeah.
Lou?
Yeah.
Just night and day. Whether it's a skit or not, I don't know, but I think there's so many people that are literally caught up with Trump derangement syndrome demons. Like they're just attached and they're just angry, and it's causing so many problems. Not that Trump is a messiah. It's just, it is a derangement syndrome where you have to be turned up to 11 and angry at everything around you, and you got to strike. You got to hiss and spew venom. No, you don't. That's not how we're supposed to be doing this.
God bless you.
I give you credit.
Thank you,
That was
man.
a good prayer.
Thank you. So you see,
I give you credit.
Thank
I
you.
give you credit.
Thank
That was
I mean, he's given him credit like 5-10 times. He's thanked him. Like, this guy finally felt heard, appreciated, loved.
a nice prayer.
give all the credit to the Lord.
That part right there. Give all the credit to the Lord. Anyway, it was much better if you could just watch it straight. I had to keep pausing it. I've seen that clip before. I've watched that clip before, but I do like it. It's just, you know, the barking dog. There's a scene in the movie As Good as It Gets. Greg Kinnear and Jack Nicholson, directed or written by James L. Brooks, the Simpsons people. Helen Hunt, Greg Kinnear. It's just great movie. Well, Jack Nicholson wins over Verdell, the dog. And Greg Kinnear's like, you miserable sack of a shit of a man. And now my dog likes you better than I do. I got robbed and beaten up and my life's falling apart. And now my own dog likes you better. You miserable old man. And Jack Nicholson shows some humanity. He's like, listen, you want to know the secret with the dog? I carry around a little bacon. Give the pup a little bacon and he likes me. It's just a trick. Something like that. You know, you get an angry barking dog, deliver some bacon. Totally changes the dynamic of an aggressive situation. There's lessons in there. And that's a great movie. Question of the day. Have you watched As Good as It Gets? Do you remember? And it came out in 1997, I think. One of the best movies ever made. It's just a great movie. Question of the day. Tell me in the comments. And yeah, more comments over in Rumble. Mighty Trash Pandas. It's lonely over here. We got rookie numbers. Got to boost them. Got to boost the lucky. Jeez, what am I trying to say? Boost the rookie numbers, not the lucky numbers. Anyway, there's just a lot of hissing going on. I played you that video of the rapper who said his mentor or his hero is Jesus Christ, and
I picked up.
She hissed at him. There is something about humanity. There is something in the human condition that succeeds where anger and violence fail. And there's something about the Christ consciousness that works. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I'm trying to level up. All right, here's a moment of Zen here. This is the Lou Perez. I think I watched Lou Perez at the Libertarian Comedy Night at their convention in 24. Take a watch here. Is this heroic protest or just vandalism?
Up a trash can, threw it through a laundromat window, like I've done dozens of times. This time was different.
You know what? It's a funny skit and it's got too much music. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Watch it. It's funny. Oh, do I have to narrate it? So I picked up a trash can and I threw it through a laundromat window like I've done dozens of times. This time was different. This time I got arrested. And the feds tear gassed me. No media coverage. Nobody calling me a hero. What's up with that? That sounds like justice. Or fascism. You think getting arrested for vandalism is fascism? Is it? I don't know what fascism means. Was that it? No. You know, was Donald Trump behind your arrest? Because if he was, that sounds pretty fascist to me. Should I tweet about it? No, don't. Can't. Trump canceled my cell service. Can I borrow someone else's phone to save the country? Okay, Alex. Hot Carl. You're not a part of any resistance. You're just shitty people. And you need to start taking responsibility for that. It's a good skit. It's like a 12-step group. 12-step self-help group. What am I trying to say? A 12-step program? Kenneth, question of the day. Yes, I watched As Good as It Gets. Lake Leon watched it. Good movie. Oh, it's so good. Please watch As Good as It Gets. Anyway, it's a good skit. You know, another day. It's another douche like Don Lemon trying to play hero, trying to play victim, trying to get as much press attention as possible. But here, the great Jim Carrey in Liar Liar has this little clip rebranded as a meme with a message to everyone complaining about ICE.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
I rest my case. You rest your case? No. I mean, case closed.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
You know? Get someone who looks at you the way that the awful, angry, white, liberal female looks at illegal alien criminals, kid abusers, SA monsters, thieves, fentanyl dealers, junkies, dirtbags. Get you a woman who looks at you the way an awful AWFL looks at illegal alien criminal invaders. Yeah, well, they're not just arresting. They're also arresting. Yes, they're running an immigrations and customs enforcement investigation. Wristbands, please. We're in the nightclub. Or the door's been propped too long. People have been handing out fake wristbands. Everybody out. Everybody get your new wristband. Yeah, that's just a way to put digital ID in Palantir, in Trump. Trump's evil. I hate Trump. Woosah, woosah. Calm down. Or,
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
okay, that's what I think. Here is Megyn Kelly talking about Don Lemon. Safe to say she's sick of the shit, just like I am. Megyn Kelly. Here she goes.
I want everyone in jail. I want all of them arrested.
You are a fake Christian.
This is...
I was called a fake Christian yesterday as well by some libertarian, allegedly, who's been drinking the Tim Waltz tap water up there, if you know what I mean, because, like I said, I don't take criticisms of what being a Christian is from a non-Christian. Thank you very much. No, you don't get to bludgeon me across the head with the book that I have. You can read from your book. Yeah, fake Christian. How dare you want people who are not American to check in when they enter America so we can know who they are, screen out poison, both in drugs and weapons and people. It's called a filter. It's the same thing you put on your water. You filter your water, lest ye be poisoned from within after a sip. Doesn't make somebody a fake Christian. But it's the same exact dopey phrase that this guy's using. Running his act of terror inside of this house of God.
the red line, and they've crossed it.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful.
Don Lemon lectured half of the parishioners about how they really had an obligation to sit there and fucking take it.
Uh-huh. You know, and I think this will be a part of the conversation tomorrow about ICE. If we can bring in the person we're planning on bringing in. This person has been embedded with all of these activists for years, really. And there is a question that comes up. To what degree are the media fomenting this, participating in this, versus, yeah, we know about what's going on, that we're filming it. And guess what? If they're committing crimes, it's my evidence, my film, that's going to get you what you need for a conviction if they're breaking the law in the pursuit of their First Amendment or their riots or their terror campaigns, whatever you want to call it. Where do you land? Is the videographer complicit or an innocent bystander? My God, is this snow coming down? Be careful out there, people. Be careful out there. Yeah, Don Lemon telling you sit there and take it. No thanks.
These are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on.
Some people are too dumb to be allowed to do the news.
There's a constitution and a First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
He's too dumb and doesn't know shit about the law or the U.S. Constitution.
People here don't like it, but protests are not comfortable.
Has no fucking clue what he is saying.
It's insane that he thought this was going to be a good idea. Will Pam Bondi or anybody make some fucking arrests anywhere about anything? Compare the grand conspiracy to this, you tell me what's a bigger deal. Regardless. Come on.
To that pastor there. You're going to learn the hard way, sir, how wrong you are.
Look, he's hugging his kid. I just imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for...
I didn't see this. I must imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for him. This is literal terrorism protected by the FACE Act. Are there ever going to be any repercussions for the dirtbags who are fucking around in this country?
The people here, that's what protesting is about.
That's what protesting is about. He thinks he did a good thing here. Oh, please.
You're too stupid to understand the law, but this one also happens to be illegal. You know how it's illegal to harass people, to show up at the abortion clinic?
That's what the FACE Act was. Everlast wrote this. We've all seen the man at the liquor store begging for your change. She heads for the clinic and she gets some static walk in for the door. They call her a killer, they call her a sinner, and they call her a whore. God forbid you ever had to wake up to hear the news, because then you really might know what it's like to have to choose. Oh no, God forbid you ever had to walk a mile in her shoes. Is that what I said? That's what that lyric is like in What It's Like. It also protects you in church.
You're not allowed to do that. Well, guess what? That same law also applies to places of worship. There are some very limited, but this is one of them.
Did just about one of the dumbest things possible.
Limits on your First Amendment rights. This is the line beyond which we cannot allow them to cross. I don't care if it takes the National Guard, if it takes all of Pam Bondi's DOJ, if it takes President Trump personally making a visit to this church.
Do it, do it, do it. I saw this video and I almost booked a flight up to Minneapolis immediately.
I don't care what has to be done, but this is the red line and they've crossed it.
I do mean that, by the way. I know I've said that I need to put a separate GoFundMe or a Give, Send, Go campaign together for funds to get an airline ticket, to get a hotel room, to get on the ground transportation and food, and then just go report the stuff. This pissed me off. Just a couple of days ago, I almost went up to Minneapolis because of this huge red line that was crossed. Yeah, arrests. Give it a rest. Yeah, you sound like Pam Bondi. So we'll see what happens with Don Lemon. Listen to the Greenland story, shall we? I don't know this guy, but a lot of people are now laying out the history of Greenland because it's important. I haven't personally vetted all of these facts. It's his assertions, and I'm not familiar with him, but there's a lot of history and reason behind Greenland and why we've ended up in the situation we're in.
In 1803, United States purchased Louisiana. In 1867, United States purchased Alaska. In 1917, United States purchased Virgin Islands. In 1867, United States, under President Johnson, came close to negotiating a purchase of both Greenland and Ireland from Denmark, but the idea fizzled because post-Civil War politics. In 1910, United States, under President Taft, had a diplomatic discussion with Denmark to purchase Greenland, but the offer wasn't firm, never really advanced, and instead it just collapsed. In 1946, United States under President Truman had its most significant attempt to purchase Greenland. Denmark rejected the offer, and US instead secured an ongoing military access via agreements. In 1955, United States under President Eisenhower tried to purchase Greenland, but essentially no formal offer was made. United States purchasing Greenland is only outrageous and never heard of because now Trump is the one trying to make the deal. In 1803,
Yep. America wanting Greenland for 150 years was fine until Trump said it. I think they're going to make it happen. We shall see. This is all of us. It's like Nick Shirley. Come on, do something. Pam Bondi. What a massive disappointment she is. What a massive... Come on, Pam, do something. Let's see. Replace Bondi with Gates. Button. Because that's who it was supposed to be, Matt Gaetz, and then they replaced her with Pam Do-Nothing Bondi. What a horrible selection. Absolutely worthless. Or are we being too harsh on Pam Bondi? You know, trust the plan. It's all going to happen one of these days. Just wait till we run out the clock, and then it'll totally happen. Ross da Boss. Christopher Ross Bennett. Danielle D'Souza Gill put this out, and it says, To Catch a Predator host Chris Hansen says that almost every sting he sets up now catches illegal alien invaders. Quote, we can't do a sting without catching somebody who's in this country illegally, end quote. I wonder why the mainstream media isn't reporting on this. Huh. I want to be a good shepherd to the flock, to the residents, the citizens of America. The Democrats want bad people roaming around to do bad things in your backyard. Fuck that and fuck them. This is not a complicated issue. Leading report says President Trump says he's going to give out $2,000 tariff dividend checks to middle-class Americans without Congress. Whoa. Sean takes it a step further and says, how about a full refund since my hard-earned money is going straight to Somalians? All right. Yeah, can we get that 2K pretty fast, please? How is the stock market today? As of yesterday, they said $1.3 trillion wiped out of the U.S. stock market. You know, just like last time, everything was going fantastic, so they had to pull the rug with COVID. Or at least weaponize it. Let me ask Grok. Stock market overview so far today. Grok tells me rebounding after a sharp sell-off, largely driven by President Trump's comments at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He toned down aggressive rhetoric on acquiring Greenland, explicitly ruling out the use of military force or excessive strength, which eased investor concerns over potential new tariffs on European countries amid broader geopolitical tensions. It's up about 400 points today, up about 0.4 to 1% of the S&P. Following Tuesday's heavy losses, the Dow down 1.8%, S&P down 2.1%, NASDAQ down 2.4%. The worst single-day drop in about 3 months, triggered by initial tariff threats tied to the Greenland issue and a sell America sentiment wave. Relief rally from Trump's de-escalation on Greenland. No force. Focus on negotiations for security reasons. Broader context, ongoing volatility from policy, geopolitical headlines, with markets sensitive to any tariff or trade signals. Gold has now hit all-time highs, which is a safe haven play. Oil prices are lower, and long-term treasury yields are mixed, but up slightly earlier. Cautious recovery mode. Keep your eyes peeled on the economy. They want to burn it all down if it means they get to govern over the ashes. So have a little bit of a plan. Gentry Givers says, former HUD Assistant Secretary Catherine Austin Fitts claims the Washington Uniparty has misappropriated approximately $55 trillion in taxpayer money since 2008. That's $55 trillion. That's $3 trillion per year. Time for treason trials. Button. This is treason, most foul, the looting of America. I can't, Alec something, I can't read up the top. MAGA. President Trump has already deported enough illegal aliens in Minnesota for the blue state to lose a congressional seat. That's the plan, guys. Trump wins, or at least he plans to win by cheating a lot more than he did in 2024, is the claim. And then Lyft Junkie says, Australian here, how can the voting outcome change if illegals can't vote? Can illegals vote in America, or did you just admit to voter fraud? Great question. Community note, congressional seats are apportioned by the population of Minneapolis or Minnesota, not just the population of the citizens. So in this way, the number of illegal alien invaders can affect the number of seats and electoral votes without needing to vote in the election. I'm going to say pass the SAVE Act immediately. Button. It's time to nuke the filibuster and get some common sense voter reforms completed by the midterms. Save our nation. You want to hear the dumbest argument about voting in person and voter ID? Good Lord, they actually say these things and think that it's an intelligent perspective. It's the worst take ever. We have to show our ID most of the things that we do. We do. And if you stay out of trouble, people leave you alone by and large. It's a pretty easy system. Oh, the sunny host and the lying.
Don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where Black people had to prove their right to vote, and oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license.
It's too much. I can't even let her finish. She's talking about last name. You take your husband's last name traditionally in a marriage, and if your name is different on your ID than it is on your passport, you sort these things out. You're an adult. You sort these things out. There should be a process to sort these things out. And without that process, you don't get to vote. If you can't prove who you are, you don't vote. That's it. You don't get to vote in a homeowners association unless you can prove that you have a vested interest in that. You're not a citizen, you don't get a vote. Yeah, but they're here. Yeah, but why are they here? And while they're here, they're guests, they're visitor. I don't want to hear their opinions. Don't come here and try to overthrow our nation. No. Get the hell out if that's what you're here for. Nope, we didn't sign up for that. Yeah, but nope. You don't have a driver's license. You don't. This says nothing. Slavery. Good Lord, lady. 2026. We are all navigating this world. Showing your ID when you get a beer. Showing your ID when you try to use a credit card and it says CID on the back of the credit card. A million things. They all require ID. And to turn this into some sort of divisive racial issue is just despicable. Despicable.
So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And
voter suppression. No, it's voter eligibility confirmation. I guess maybe it's doesn't ring in the ear quite as well, but it's voter eligibility verification.
I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Right.
What? No. Most democracies, most republics, where the voice of the people actually matters, you have to prove who you are. You just said the opposite of that. Misappropriated. Fancy word for theft. Yes.
Don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses.
Yeah, you have state issued identification cards. Like, no, your gaslighting doesn't work. We're doing it. It's false. It's just pure false. It's just lies. It's been a year, President Trump. Can't play the music, but let's see if we can pause. Let's run it back. 299 executive orders signed. Men have been banned from participating in women's sports. 8 wars have been ended. Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America. There's no tax on tips or on Social Security or on overtime. Border crossings are now down 90%. Federal funding for the mutilation of minors has been stopped. The Department of Defense has been changed to the Department of War, accurately reflecting what the purpose is. The government has been doged, although I'd like to see more done there, more codified into law, not just executive action. And Congress is very, very disappointing, which is why these midterms do unfortunately matter. I don't always want to be covering elections, but they matter. Every Democrat must be voted out, and the rhinos have to get out of the MAGA party. 600,000 deportations have occurred, more than 600,000 deportations. The hostages in Gaza have been freed. I think they still need remains from one person, maybe more. 23 pro-life activists who never took a life have been pardoned. The discrimination known as federal DEI programs has been ended. You've been getting discriminated against based on based on sex, skin color, religion. You've been getting discriminated against. And that's over. Didn't earn it. Diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI. Those discriminatory practices are gone now. All the confusing stuff that the gender addicts keep pushing on us, there are 2 sexes that are recognized. Keep it simple. Stop the confusion. Stop trying to confuse kids. Gas prices are now at gas prices are at a 5-year low. That's much more accurate. Paper straws. Get rid of the paper straws. Paper straws are terrible. Ugh. They stick to your lips and they have a taste. And the glue that's used, it's not healthy for you. It's not safe. 687,000 jobs added. That's from the Daily Wire. You can dispute some of those numbers if you want. But Marion says, don't have driver's licenses, don't have cars, and Sonny doesn't have a brain. Yeah, Lake Leon, you codify the executive orders. Where is Congress? John Thune needs to crap or get off the pot. Huge disappointment. Kristi Noem announces 10,000 illegal alien invader arrests in Minnesota. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced Monday that immigration officers arrested more than 10,000 illegal immigrants in Minnesota. Peace and public safety in Minneapolis, Noem exclaimed in a post to X. We've arrested over 10,000 criminal illegal aliens who were killing Americans, hurting children, and raining terror in Minneapolis because Tim Walz and Jacob Frey refused to protect their own people and instead protect criminals. This figure includes about 3,000 criminal illegal aliens arrested by federal authorities in just the last 6 weeks, the secretary said. Since the start of the year, Minnesota has become a flashpoint in the Trump administration's effort to remove illegal migrants living in the U.S. Earlier this month, an ICE agent fatally shot a Minneapolis motorist, Renee Good, who federal authorities say tried to disrupt federal operations and hid an agent with her vehicle. Additionally, the administration is also investigating alleged fraud in the state's federal benefits program. There is massive fraud in Minneapolis, at least $19 billion, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, Noem asserted in the same post. Our Homeland Security investigators are on the ground in Minneapolis conducting wide-scale investigations to get justice for the American people who have been robbed blind. Put an "I voted for this" button. President Trump wants to know, well, he wants to know why these stories are being misrepresented, misreported. Marion says, okay, now arrest the ones who stole the money for the daycares, etc. Go, do something. Come on, Pam Bondi, do something. I agree. Benny Johnson says, holy smokes, President Trump shocks the fake news with a surprise press briefing appearance. He's holding up dozens of mugshots of criminal aliens in Minnesota, forcing them to see who Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, and they themselves are protecting.
People, vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that more? Because people don't know. Do you want to live with these people?
No.
International murder. These are people that are living, they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came, and the countries respect us, and so they actually put them there. In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because he let them all in. You know, if you didn't have open border policies of Biden, none of this, all of the things that all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country. And it's been caused by a previous administration. Look at this, one after one. Boy, these are rough characters. These are all criminal, illegal aliens that, in many cases, they're murderers, they're drug lords, drug dealers, they're the mentally insane. There's some of them who are brutal killers, they're mentally insane. They're killers, but they're insane. These are just in Minnesota and California. It's worse. In other states, it's worse. No, Minnesota, the crime is incredible. The financial crimes are incredible. And the problem is because of the agitators and insurrectionists, whatever you want, trouble people, vicious.
Just piles and piles of bad people that Biden let in. We're cleaning up the mess. We didn't flood the room. We have to do the mold remediation. You don't like the way the mold is being remediated? What's your suggestion on ways to improve it? Don't just complain about what's happening. And if some things are happening that shouldn't happen, let's address those. That's fine. But do you have suggestions on how to improve identifying everybody that snuck in? You don't get to stay. That's not an option.
Many
unhinged anti-ICE protesters storm a Minnesota church.
The breaking news we have just heard, the FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz. We will...
Minnesota Governor Walz, AG Ellison, and Mayor Jacob Frey. Department of Justice subpoenas have hit the offices.
Bring you more information as we get it on those subpoenas.
Yeah, we don't want subpoenas. We want arrests and raids and perp walks. The same shit they did to frame Trump and supporters of MAGA, that's what needs to happen on the other side. It's not retribution. It's not political payback. This is actual justice for proven criminality. Big difference.
Breaking news.
We shall see. Woman also investigating the mysterious, potentially or likely illegal material wealth accumulation of Ilhan Omar. Take a listen.
Ilhan Omar's net worth went up nearly $30 million. The question is how? Here's what we know. Omar's husband, a former political consultant, owns a venture capital firm based in Washington, D.C. and a winery in California. Take a look at these numbers. In 2023, Omar disclosed a maximum of $50,000 in assets at the winery. The next year, Dana, that number increased to $5 million. Meanwhile, her husband's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported a maximum of $1,000 in assets in 2023. The next year, it was $25 million. Despite that, Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year, posting on X, quote, "I barely have thousands, let alone millions." House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells Fox News an investigation is underway, writing, quote, "The committee is working on addressing ethics concerns regarding Representative Omar and her spouse and woman Ilhan Omar's net."
And I hope to have an update soon.
And
this is, what is her name? Well, this is about Portland and Antifa. Let me try to get her name.
Antifa would meet at 5 p.m.
There's too much music. Anyway, just trying to battle Antifa, who's taken over Portland. Can't show it to you. Too much damn music.
Terrorize a part of our...
Yeah, there needs to be right here on this, a button where you can click it and take the music out.
City. And nobody in our city could go into Portland, into downtown after 5 o'clock because you didn't know where the violence would occur. And the silence of the church was deafening. But I couldn't
look at the church and blame somebody because I am the church, she says. So I prayed a dangerous prayer and asked God if there's anything I can do. And then I said something even more dangerous. I said, God, I don't know how you could use me, but put me in the fight. And how many of you know God doesn't look on your resume to see if you qualify for stuff like that? I knew nothing about activism and quite frankly, didn't even care much about it, didn't pay attention in government or history class. I was the most ignorant person in the room, but I had the heart of God on the inside to grieve over our family and children who were being brainwashed into evil. And as a mother of 5 children, also knowing the heart of God, I couldn't stand on the sidelines any longer. So the first thing that God told us to do was start a prayer movement, put some structure around it. And I always thought people go to prayer, but I had never formed a structure. And he simply said to form something called prayer hubs, which would be 2 people who would meet together and pray God's will over their community, over their state. First instruction was to pray, not to gather large groups of people. So we simply started asking people all over America, would you be willing to meet with one other person and pray those prayers and write them out? A couple hundred, then a couple thousand. Now 7,000 prayer hubs in America. So the response to Antifa for her was 7,000 prayer hubs across the country. Got to radiate the energy back away from the demonic, divisive, destructive stuff that's being pushed by the radical left. Well, I would share this one with you, but it's got more music in the back. That's a common theme for these Instagram ones, so let me buzz through it. It's a guy who wrote a letter to his 41-year-old self as if I were 80. I completely reframed how I see my days, my kids, my marriage, and what I rush through without realizing it. Am I going, bud? So yeah, write a letter from your future self to the version of you today. Whether you're 80 writing to 24-year-old self, 60 writing to yourself at 30, see what comes up. And then read it slowly to yourself, to your spouse, or to your kids, or to no one at all. Whatever makes sense to you. I promise you'll walk away with just a little bit more grateful for the things that you have. I mean, for many of us, this is the healthiest day we're going to have. That's something to be thankful for. No matter where we're currently at, we're going to be older in a few decades. You know. Lake Leon chiming in on the Minnesota thing. Yeah, Democrats would have had everybody arrested on day one. Yeah, which is why you can never let them steal power again. And President Trump basically said that to the World Economic Forum again. This was stolen. And we're going to prove it. We're going to put it out there, and you're going to see. They stole this nation and ran it into the ground. Whatever they were trying to make deals with you on before, that was a stolen regime. Next. Natalie Jean Biesner made this post, and it's pretty good. But hands down, the most shocking thing of the past 2 days is Don Lemon claiming to be a Christian. Did you know? I'm so glad we got spoken to by such a great Christian, Don Lemon. We're so blessed to have that. All right, President Trump talking about what things were like a year ago and where they're at right now.
Look at the border. The border is now secure. First time, Biden said you couldn't do it. You need legislation. I had no legislation. I said close the border. Within 1 month, we had almost nobody coming in. Now for the last 8 months, nobody came into our country illegally. And I find that hard to believe because you'd think somebody, because it used to be millions of people just poured into our country. And the people that do that are Democrat sort of aligned. So, I mean, they're not doing me any favors. We had nobody come in. We have a very strong border. We have very few people coming up. They're not going to make the trek because they know they probably won't be coming in. So it's not as hard as you think. But I didn't have to go back. Remember, they said we need legislation to close the border. They had millions of people coming in a month. We have nobody coming in. And we're getting the murderers out. Murderers, people from prisons and jails. Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people we're getting out. And we look at the border. The border is now.
It's a much better situation for the country. New York Post is reporting Mamdani chief equity officer disparaged liberal white women in a now deleted X post or posts, saying, quote, tax them to the white meat. Quote, tax them to the white meat. Can you even believe that's a thing? Well, Mamdani. At it again. Minneapolis has been conquered. New York has been conquered. Hello to John over there in the Facebook group. We're on the Facebook page for the New American Media. Make sure you're linked up with us on the Facebook page. I guess I need to share the page to the group because the group won't link through Restream. I got to see if I can restream it, relink it. I don't know, man. All this stuff. But yeah, we're trying to make sure that our stuff is known and that we are logging in, distributing our information to as many places as possible. It's sort of a never-ending task. And sort of you never know if you're doing it right, if you're optimizing all the methods. Thanks to John and others who are linked up with us in multiple locations. It does matter, and we need to expand it. So, yeah, Mamdani, about liberal white women, tax them to the white meat. Ooh, gross. An account that was deleted shortly before her appointment, and just as another aide landed in hot water for her radical screeds. Now you know. This from Will Kane shared this message yesterday. The Department of Health and Human Services celebrates RFK Jr.'s birthday with steak and candles. Happy birthday, Mr. Bobby Kennedy. Maybe I should do a Bobby Kennedy video later. I should be doing at least one Bobby Kennedy video a day. They are performing a different way in the analytics, so I need to start making sure some of that content's out there. In addition to The Daily Show. All right, Real Donald Trump put this one out. Trump year one. All these images, strong global relationships. He's touting. What else? I had to mute the music. Restoring peace. Securing the border. Deporting illegal immigrants. Strengthening the military. Protecting American jobs. Liberating America. Rebuilding our cities. Leading with transparency. Securing investments into America for jobs. No more men and women's sports. Ushering in the golden age of America at our 250th birthday. Big, beautiful bill. Making America great again. Shared from the White House. And I'm just going to scoot you this way. Yeah. Oh, trying to scoot Nimbus ever so slightly. Thank you, buddy. It's been a year. I mean, you remember how bad? Yeah, year one. We won. We're year one victory. WON. I'm very grateful for this being this year. All right, here's another story. Talk about being grateful. Man, you know, sometimes we share stories that are like, don't do this. This is a lesson in what not to do. But this is a lesson in, oh my gosh. Grateful indeed. Good Samaritans in Virginia Beach work together as a woman is trapped inside of a sinking SUV that's submerged in frigid water after she was unable to lock her doors and escape.
Hey, go to the back! Jody, climb to the back! Go to the back!
It's tilted! Oh, Lord!
Because the weight of the engine's dragging you down that way.
Oh, God! Oh, no! Jesus! No, no!
If you missed that, she did call out the name Jesus.
Nate, move! Oh, my God! Oh! The car is in the water.
Is the driver still inside?
Yes.
Okay. The driver's still inside, but the glass is broken.
Oh, God!
Okay, it's now submerged. The victim-
Where's the water? Oh, no! Thank you, Lord! Oh, Jesus!
Okay, she got out.
Oh, my God! Oh, thank you, Lord! Oh. Did they get her out? They got her! Oh, Jesus! Oh! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh.
Stand up. There you go. Hey, go to the back! Jody, climb to the back!
And that was the move. You had to smash out the back window. In your vehicle, you should keep one of those devices that you can punch out a window if you get trapped inside water so you can catch your breath and swim out. You know, sometimes they're little knives and you can punch the window with them and the glass will shatter. And it's got a like a letter cutter, and you use it for your seatbelt. You take it across and it'll slice right through it so you can get if you're pinned in, you're locked in. You're snapped in and everything's just around you. Slice through, free yourself of that. I'm glad those people acted as quick as they did. That lady needed it. I like sharing good stories. That's a good story. It's a 3-minute interview here.
Are you?
What is this? Who is this? The Dark Horse Podcast. This Weinstein, is that his name?
You still getting COVID boosters?
No.
You're not. Why not?
Well, I've already had COVID a couple times, so I have natural immunity.
Oh, so you believe in natural immunity?
Remember when we were told that wasn't a thing? And if you talked about it, you were depersoned on social media. You weren't allowed to engage in business. You couldn't engage with your friends, cover the news.
Well, after the
entire
the
public
initial
health
vaccine.
apparatus assured us that natural immunity was not good enough and that you still got a benefit from the vaccines.
They got it wrong. Look, Brett. They got many things wrong.
Do you remember
Yes.
that moment in time?
I do.
Brett Weinstein, I think.
And do you remember people like me shouting about this?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we find out from Paul Offit that all of the major players gathered together and privately understood the very same thing that they were gaslighting us over.
Yep. So, where are Pam Bondi's arrests of these perpetrators? Like, we know what they were up to. They gathered and lied.
They understood that natural immunity was the best immunity that you were going to come by and that a vaccine wasn't going to augment it. And they decided to keep that to themselves in spite of the fact that these vaccines are built on a novel technology they didn't know the hazards of at best. So how is it that these people can privately meet and decide there's a whole swath, millions of people, hundreds of millions of people who'd already had COVID, who didn't need to take any risk whatsoever from a novel vaccine? How is it that they get to privately decide to keep that information to themselves?
Okay,
and why, given that they did that, given that...
Where are the arrests from Pam Bondi? Crimes against humanity.
You remember the moment in history at which they were, not only were they disagreeing with us, which was a lie, they were gaslighting us. They were telling people like you that people like me were crazy. Well, I don't understand how you don't learn that lesson. Or maybe you did, and that's why you're not getting any more COVID boosters.
No, I just think, again, it's more of a changing information landscape.
No, it's not changed information. This information was there.
We think this is what, we think masks work, masks don't work. Yeah, we should have masks.
Oh my
6
God.
feet distancing,
Michael,
close the schools,
Michael,
open the schools.
why do you think the
there's a lot of
information landscape changed?
Because we were pushed with the gaslighting enough and we dug our heels in.
Well, because the information was low to begin with, and then we got more information.
No.
Okay, no, I agree.
I'm less conspiratorial that Paul Offit and his buddies all met.
They
and said,
did,
we know
according to Paul Offit.
I don't remember him saying that.
In February of 22.
Talked about it twice on video.
Okay, they got the clip playing underneath that.
Described the meeting where he and Fauci and Collins and Walensky got together and they talked about the fact that natural immunity was superior and they decided not to tell the public. That's from Paul Offit. You can go look at the video.
I don't remember that, but they're going to lie to the public. They can't. I can't believe Paul Offit would say, "Yeah, we agreed we would lie to the public." That
he represents himself as having been outvoted.
Okay. Oh,
okay.
All right.
So, and that's a good position to be in. You could get to be the good guy and the bad guy, whether it's true or not.
But why? What is their motivation?
Here's the important point. And look, I'm sorry to be hard on you, Michael. I really do like you. But my point is you've switched teams. You're now on team don't get your COVID booster. Okay. And I think that's wise. I think you were in error to ever get one. But why the information landscape changed is because I went on Rogan and Malone went on Rogan and McCullough went on Rogan and Pierre Corey went on Rogan, and we talked about these things in public, bypassing the system that was set up to shut us down.
See, I don't think that's what it was.
Are you still getting COVID boosters?
No.
You're not? Why not?
All right. Well, where are Pam Bondi's arrests of the perpetrators? That's my question. I don't know this dude, but he's talking about the once-in-a-lifetime storm about to hit the U.S. that has hit the U.S. So, not super familiar with this dude, like I said, but let's listen to what he's saying about it, because look out the window, you might be dealing with it like I am.
Been waiting to talk about the storm that's coming this weekend because I didn't want to freak people out. And a lot of these forecasts never pan out, but this one is panning out, it looks like. Yeah, everyone's in agreement now that the crazy forecast is actually happening. This is going to be one of those storms you probably remember for much of your life. Basically, more than the eastern half of the United States is going to be below freezing. Most of that below zero. They're calling for, foot and a half of snow all through here, all the way to the mid-Atlantic, and 3 inches of ice in this pink band right here. 3 inches of ice is unbelievably catastrophic. That is worse than what Texas experienced in 2021. There's going to be loss of life. Anywhere there's 3 inches of ice, there's no power. There's not going to be a power line that's not on the ground when there's 3 inches of ice. And emergency services aren't going to be able to reach you because there's 3 inches of ice on the road. That's what's going to happen if this forecast is correct. The grid's going to fail. Refineries are going to shut down. Water systems are going to shut down. Could knock out a couple of LNG terminals if it goes far enough south on the Gulf Coast. This is going to be a disaster if this forecast is even close to accurate. I mean, a major disaster. Huge natural disaster across pretty much all the southern states. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you live in the pink area, you should plan to be without power for at least a week, maybe a month. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you need to prepare for it because it wouldn't be the first time it happened, okay? This is that. People went without power for a month in Texas in 2021. This is a repeat of that. For you folks in the upper Midwest, where it's going to be like 30 below, take the largest electric bill you've ever had in your life and add, 25% to that or more. Yeah. But more importantly, just be prepared. Thanks.
My electric bill was through the roof. It was actually similar to what it was last year. But I went and bought more insulation that I just installed. I'm already noticing a difference. Sort of kind of stupid I waited this long. It's all right. Wherever you are and however long it's taken you to get to this point, it's okay. Well, I can't believe it took me this. It's all right. You're doing it now. Do it now. Recognize what's important today and do those things. Do you have a generator in case? Do you have a backup plan? Anything? Just in case? In case all the ice weighs down a tree and it rips a branch off and it drops down on a line and you're out of power? Do you have the ability to fire up a generator so that you can keep your heater on so that your pipes don't freeze and flood your house? Like there's a series of it's a cascading domino situation, a series of catastrophic events. So just be aware of having extra warm stuff when you're out and about. There was a group, we showed that 100-car pileup in Michigan yesterday. What if you're low on gas? Don't drive when you're low on gas. When you don't get below half a tank. What if you got stuck on a freeway and you had to be there for 12 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours? You're jammed. You can't go anywhere. You could, if you have gas in the engine, you can keep yourself warm. Don't put yourself into risky situations. I mean, it's such a smart thing to think about. But make sure you have extra warm stuff and tools and supplies, whether you end up in an icy, a frigid body of water. Make sure you have the device to pop your window out and cut yourself out of the seatbelt. And make sure you have some plans in case things go weird. And yeah, maybe this is a good time to seal up your home. Tighten things up just a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to do a little bit more after the show. I'm super excited to be doing it. And I can notice where there used to maybe have been a draft. Now it's not there. I'm going, ooh, this is good. This is good. What else can I do? So now I'm thinking, like, what other ways can I seal this off even more? Kenneth is low on gas, thanks to a better diet. Yeah, a lot of the vegetarians, they complain about beans and lentils, and they go, ooh. Oh, but dairy. Oh, I got lactose intolerance. Yeah, well, have yourself some vegetarian beans and get back at me with your gastrointestinal issues. Anyway, be safe out there. Here is a Becker High School student, according to Emma Mitchum, in Minnesota, caught berating a student over Renee Good. Take a listen.
His move should have been to go like this if he was really afraid. Your job as a police officer is to de-escalate.
It's a split second.
No, he had no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
He was not. I'm not arguing with you.
You're arguing right now. What are you doing? You're arguing.
Because watch the video. He was not in
Just
danger.
because you're yelling doesn't mean you're winning an argument. Just because you're yelling doesn't mean you're winning. Josh?
Yeah. Just because you're alive doesn't mean you are intelligent.
It sucks that she got shot, but it's a split. You have a split second.
Yeah.
And they're not leaving us on. You're gonna take that?
It's a split-second decision. Yep. And the student says, hey, just because you're yelling doesn't mean you're winning.
It's fucking stupid.
His move should have been to go like this if he was really afraid.
You know, all this second-hand armchair. He shoulda. I can't believe they woulda. Yeah, well, you're not the man in the arena, are you? You're not out there doing this difficult job. You're not out here in harm's way, but all you have are criticisms. What would you have done differently? Great. That's great for you to say from the comfort of your classroom. Well, those second two, the first shot was self-defense, but those other two, yeah, watch the video. It all happens in one moment where she goes, spins the wheel, hits him. He goes, pop, pop, pop. It all happens in one moment. You can't break things down millisecond by millisecond. Oh, we got to protest. You protest the people that are impeding in the investigation, causing those problems. So this is what your kids are being exposed to. Dr. Heather Abramson's social studies, allegedly.
Your job as a police officer is to de-escalate.
It's a split second.
No, he had no.
Yes.
No.
It's a split second. And she's denying that it was in a split second. Yes, it was. I continued watching various versions of the footage to figure out that. I don't think this person has watched all the videos.
Yes. You're arguing right now. What are you doing? You're arguing right
Because watch the video. He was not in
Just because
danger.
you're yelling doesn't.
He was not in danger. 4,600-pound vehicles being gunned pedal to the metal, hitting him, bloodying his insides, his torso, internal bleeding. Yeah, he was almost a stain on the road. This lady's lying.
Doesn't mean you're winning an argument. Just because you're yelling doesn't mean you're winning. Josh?
Yeah. Just because you're alive doesn't mean you.
Yep. Gen Z and Gen Alpha are more awake thanks to COVID. They saw this BS firsthand. We're not going to get gaslit anymore. Cool Kids. I don't know who this is. Not following. I'll drop a follow. Illegals help Democrats win elections. But many people don't realize illegals are counted in the census, and they also give the Democrats extra House seats. So the entire Democrat power structure depends on illegals and fraud. That's why they hate ICE so much. This isn't about one particular thing. It's about their entire fraud system. That is why they hate ICE so much. Oh, there's music in this, but this, well, because Candace brought this up that Charlie thought I don't know what Candace referenced Charlie Kirk in the realm of being a time traveler. That might sound kooky, but if you've been a coast-to-coast listener for the past several decades, as I have been, all of these things are three-letter agency programs. All these things. Back to the Future and John Teeter and idiosyncrasies and film and photograph, and there's even a Donald Trump story about being a time traveler. Tesla, all sorts of interesting stuff. This is Just Us USA. I don't know who this guy is, but I guess Just Us USA, Justice Smith, talking with Charlie Kirk about this.
Familiar with the CIA operation Project Stargate? Stargate? No. I know
many of them. I know COINTELPRO, Operation Paperclip, Operation Mockingbird. I don't know that one. The objective of Operation Stargate was to measure the vulnerabilities and capabilities of paranormal phenomenon in conjunction with military operations. So they were employing psychics. There was a lot about mediumship and ESP, kind of seeing what we could accomplish with remote viewing. Have you read into any of this kind of stuff?
Well, I got some books I'll give you.
Okay, you got to
It's
give
some
them to me.
Interesting stuff. Russell Targ, a former director of the operation, was a CIA agent. He gives a little background into how he was recruited. And from the intelligence agency standpoint, a lot can be inferred by the actual metrics by which they chose to find a man they deemed to be a psychic. And one of them was that he was claiming to see these little orbs of light. He had a near-death experience, and he claimed there's no such thing as death. It's another birth. So as Candace is talking about Charlie in these topics, I think we're allowed to talk about Charlie in these topics. There's some of the more interesting topics. Just felt like sharing that with you. All right, moving on. It's easier when there's not music involved. Mike Benz, I'm guessing there's music involved.
Narcotics play an important role, just like USAID does, in supporting pro-American, pro-democracy so-called forces, insurgent groups, rebel groups, cartels, gangs, militias that are the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Just
funding all sorts of bad actions all over the place. And it gets very convoluted. My enemy's enemy is my enemy. What? That's what they start doing. It gets very convoluted. And the narco trafficking stuff is funding a lot of this stuff. So when they shut the border, they shut down the narco trafficking. They shut the funding, the black ops funding. Shut down Venezuela, you stop the funding. Shut down Minneapolis, expose the fraud, you shut down the funding. We are being robbed every which way. And dirty, dark money is being used for all sorts of evil shit all over the place.
Just like we worked with Afghan warlords and used the drug proceeds to fund the Mujahideen against the Soviets.
Yep. Mujahideen good when they're battling Russia, the Soviets. Not so good when it comes back as blowback, as Ron Paul talks about.
And then to fund various Afghan warlords in the counterinsurgency against the Taliban in Afghanistan. The same thing played out throughout the entire 20th century, starting in the late 1950s throughout South America, centralized around Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, and Venezuela. And in the 1990s, what you're referring to is the origin point of the so-called Cartel of the Suns. The 2020 indictment for drug trafficking against Nicolas Maduro indicted him as being the head of the Cartel of the Suns. The problem is the Cartel of the Suns was a CIA cartel. The two brigade generals in the Venezuelan military that started the Cartel of the Suns were both on CIA payroll. And in 1993, things came to a head when the head of the DEA resigned in protest after the CIA ran over the DEA and greenlit the deliberate importation of 1,500 kilos of cocaine from Venezuela to be sold on the streets of Miami to U.S. citizens.
The more you know.
And then the CIA threatened the case officer that he would be charged if he talked to the press about it. And then the CIA worked with the DOJ to grant immunity to the Venezuelan military officials in the 1990s who were on the Venezuela National Guard, Venezuelan military side of this operation. That was all pre-Hugo Chavez's 1998 communist socialist turn. Narcotic.
It's so convoluted. This is the deep state they claim doesn't exist. All right, President Trump in front of the World Economic Forum. Let's hit some highlights.
I've come to this year's World Economic Forum with truly phenomenal news from America. Yesterday marked the one-year anniversary of my inauguration, and today, after 12 months back in the White House, our economy is booming, growth is exploding, productivity is surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising, inflation has been defeated, our previously open and dangerous border is closed and virtually impenetrable, and the United States is in the midst of the fastest and most dramatic economic turnaround in our country's history. Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite: virtually no inflation and extraordinarily high economic growth. I've come to this year's World Economic Forum with...
He sounds a little tired. He sounds a little nasally, but he sounds a little godfathery too. Definitely put things in a different position than it was before. This is episode 1 of a new Daily Wire original series called Real History with Matt Walsh. The Real History of Slavery. Daily Wire. You know, it is disgusting what the awfuls, the angry white female leftist, has been pushing on the kids, brainwashing us to think that America is a uniquely evil place. Everything is stolen. Everything's on the back. Everything about the founding is evil, and we have to replace it with Marxism, globalism, the Democrat Party. You go, what? No. I found this part particularly interesting. Take a watch.
They told you America invented slavery. They told you the Indians were peaceful. They told.
Did you ever hear the Indians were peaceful? Oh, no, 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 no. Constant warfare in North America, South America. Oh, yeah.
Told you colonialism was evil and that Joseph McCarthy was a bad guy.
Yeah, McCarthy pointed out the commie infiltration, and they made him into the bad guy. It's really a bastardization of our news, what we're talking about. Really just lie after lie after lie to try to set a narrative of shame and guilt that the angry white liberal females, by and large, they're buying into this crap. They're buying the lie. We have to reclaim our education immediately. We have to reclaim information.
And guess what? They lied. For half a century, generations of American school children have been taught to hate our history, hate our country, and hate themselves.
Mm-hmm. You're born in the wrong body. You're born in the wrong country. We have to dismantle this. We're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. All of the commie Marxist crap.
Time to set the record straight. And since no one else is going to do it, I will. Who sold us the slaves? What were India and Africa like before Europeans arrived? What caused white flight?
Yeah, white flight. Such a great topic. If you live in a big city and you're not, if you live in a big city and you're white, let's say that. Well, that's not your city. Whites can't be in cities. You go, what the kind of racist crap are you talking about? Nope, those are urban areas. Can't be white in a city. In fact, if you want to live in a city and you keep it nice, you're gentrifying it. You're making it so that indigenous people can't live here. What? Yep, you're gentrifying. What do you mean? painting the walls. I'm throwing out the trash. I'm cutting the grass. What am I? I'm making things nice. I'm showing respect. And that's a bad thing you call gentrification. Yup. Okay, dork. You know what? I'm sick of living around people that hate me irrationally. As Scott Adams said, get the F away. You know what? I'm sick of living around people that hate me. I'm going to pack up, says somebody, and I'm going to move away from the big city. I'm going to a suburb. Oh, Whitey's leaving. That's called white flight. You're taking your tax dollars with you to more affluent neighborhoods, and you're taking your tax dollars, and our schools are suffering because of white flight. You're leaving. You're fleeing the inner city instead of staying and paying your taxes. You go, well, which one is it, asshole? Can't stay and make things nice, or else I'm a gentrifier. I can't leave, or else it's white flight. Worst arguments ever. But they do it. They'll hit you from both sides with it. The leftists will. The Democrats will. Yep. Anything to make you feel less than. Anything to make you feel other. Anything to make you feel weak, small, ashamed, sad, depressed. Then they get to pounce on you and steal from you and use you as a useful idiot for their cause of global communism, Marxism, socialism, Leninism, Stalinism, whatever ism you want to put there. It's some sort of collectivist hellhole. And they do it through intimidation, through force, through violence, and through all of this brain damage they cause people in their media, from their Democrat politicians and the school system. I'm very interested in this series.
Some of the most well-known stories from American history are designed to demoralize you.
That's well articulated. Some of the most well-known stories in American history are designed and retold to demoralize you. Take all your pride away. When you empty out the cup, we can fill it with whatever bullshit we want.
Trail of Tears, Smallpox Blankets Myth, the Red Scare.
Yeah, the smallpox myth. You've heard that. You've heard the Earth's overpopulated. You heard they gave them blankets with smallpox. Germ theory wasn't even a thing at the time. These are lies. This is pure propaganda.
It's all baseless. It's time for a lesson on what they're not teaching in public schools, on the real history of slavery.
Yeah, let's start there. Happened everywhere on this globe. Still happening in the Middle East and Africa today in some places. America was the first to insist upon ending it from coast to coast, sea to shining sea. That's a good thing that we ended that. And you're just supposed to get hit with a rolled up newspaper every day for existing. How dare you exist? Can't believe what you did. What did I do? What are you talking about? Leave me alone. Leave me alone, line in the sand, leave me alone.
Of colonialism, of the Indians, of America, and the world.
Yeah, I would watch this. I don't really consume a ton of Daily Wire content. I like that movie with Tyler Fisher in it. What was that one? It was about the dodgeball, or what did it, softball, basketball, volleyball? What was that movie? Is it basketball where they play on the ladies team? Ladybugs or something?
It's time for Real History with Matt Walsh.
All right. I would be interested in that. What has been imported into America? What energy has been cultivated amongst Americans? And what are people screaming very loudly right now while inside of America?
Look at this rooms, motherfuckers! We ain't going anywhere!
Now it's time to escalate. We must always
Time to escalate.
continue to agitate.
But
Always continue to agitate.
we have and we will continue to globalize the intifada.
Globalize the intifada.
We need to neutralize the institutions of power in the West.
Neutralize, eliminate the positions of power in the West. This is a conquering takeover. This is an invading army. This is a military act.
That part of me would be Hamas. I'm a part of the BDS movement, Hamas.
now we're in Congress,
You're part of the Hamas movement. How are you? Great.
and we're every corner of the United States.
Carrying out campaigns into tangible strategic targets.
Too much music here. Campaigns against strategic targets. Reaching into the key areas of social power to transform it and overthrow it. Bringing the fight back home. to destroy the idea of
The
America.
thing that's happening right now in the United States of America is because Republicans are not doing anything. Every single one of these people should be in jail for inciting violence. Full stop. When you come and publicly say, oh, I am Hamas, I want to overthrow the United States government, you should be in jail. That is an incitement of violence. That is not free speech, has never been. They keep saying that, oh, Donald Trump incited the insurrection. No, he didn't. He didn't. You guys are the ones that are inciting violence. And for every Republican conservative out there, start holding your local GOP to a higher standard. Start going to meetings. Start calling them out for their inaction. It's the only way we will win in the future. Why? Because otherwise, I don't know if you're seeing, Texas is turning purple, buddy. Yeah, they are importing more and more and more radical leftists, and the GOP in Texas is not doing anything. And we are seeing the same happening in New Jersey, we are seeing it in Virginia, we are seeing it in Montana, out of all places. Arizona, New Mexico is gone. We are in this mess because when Republicans are in power, they are not doing anything. Look right now, we have the House, the Senate, and the White House. And what do we have to show for? Yes, we do have a few things to show for, but in the grand scheme of things, we could have so much more to show for. And the fact that they are silent about this and the fact that they are not doing anything about this, it's exactly why we are where we are in the first place.
Look at this room.
Yep, got to pass the SAVE Act. It's time to act. Time to get moving. Have you seen the movie They Live? Question of the day. Have you watched it? Someone put Alex Jones into this? Oh, the trivia. Huh. Last. Oh. Never watched it. Today it's still steep. Hi.
What's your problem?
Doesn't it feel that way walking around like you just got zombies around you?
I said, what's your problem?
That's the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell.
It really boils down to our ability to accept. We don't need pessimism.
No, none of that.
Ideal.
Oh.
A vision.
Hillary bumps into him.
Got one that can see.
Yeah, I got to watch that movie. Have you watched They Live? Tell me, have you watched They Live, Kenneth? They Live on my street. Nope, never heard it. Never heard. It's got Rowdy Roddy Piper as the main character. Let's watch that, and then we'll have a Rowdy Roddy Piper. We need to watch it and have a book report. We need to do a watch party with it. What do you think, Nim? Would you watch that with me? I'm actually going to write it down. Watch They Live. That's pretty fun, though. Alex Jones walking through this world. So check this out. CNN is actually covering the highlights of ICE arresting violent illegals who've been dumped on the streets by liberal sanctuary cities instead of being immediately turned over to ICE so that they could be removed for the safety of everybody. But the Democrats aren't doing that because they're nuts or they're evil. They couldn't possibly think they're in the right for doing this. Violent illegal alien invaders being dumped back onto our streets instead of instantly deported. No, that's treason. Call it what it is. That's dereliction of duty. That's fucking treason. We ask one thing. Get the worst of the worst things away from us so we can just live and let live. Do our own thing and be left alone. We got a right to do our own thing and be left alone. These Democrat cities siding with the dirtbags, the violent people. Nope, unacceptable. That's treason. Pam Bondi, get your ass to work. Start filing the indictments. And you can just call it treason. Putting American lives at risk for temporary political gain. Screw them.
Since President Trump took office 1 year ago today, the state of Minnesota has released nearly 500 criminal aliens who were in police or state custody rather than turning them over to ICE for removal proceedings. Many of these criminals already have a final order of removal, which means an immigration judge...
All right, we are watching this press conference, immigration and...
They cut them off. CNN panics and cuts the feed. ICE is forced to rearrest the violent illegals dumped back on the streets by liberal sanctuary cities. It's the Democrats causing this mess, and then they're complaining that ICE is fixing the mess that they're actively engaged in causing. We're not buying your bullshit. Get out of the fucking roads. Stop impeding the investigations and let ICE do their job.
Border Patrol officials out of Minneapolis as they've been conducting their major operation there. And we just heard from Greg Bovino, who is there.
Over the weekend and through yesterday's holiday, ICE arrested 113 illegal aliens in Minnesota. Some of the criminal aliens that were arrested, whose photos you see beside me on the monitor, include an illegal alien gang member from Laos with convictions for homicide and robbery, an illegal alien from Laos who's been convicted for sodomizing a 12-year-old girl and sexual assault.
How could anyone be against this?
An illegal alien from the Marshall Islands who has 24 criminal convictions, including assault, domestic abuse, and theft.
Nope. Don't need them. Don't want them. Didn't invite them. Get the heck out.
There's an illegal alien from Honduras convicted of 3 DUIs who has also been arrested for kidnapping, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and possession of a stolen firearm. An illegal alien from South Africa convicted of violating a restraining order and arrested for domestic violence, assault, meth possession, and DUI. We are currently also looking for 2 sexual predators who are at large in or around St. Paul right now. Lu Mau Ah, a criminal illegal alien from Laos who is wanted for sexually assaulting a child, rape, kidnapping, and domestic violence. Kong Ming Bang, a criminal illegal alien from Laos who is wanted for sexual assault, gang activity, and simple assault.
We don't want any of these monsters in the community. Democrats have lost their mind. 17% is a far too high approval rating for that domestic terrorist organization. They're not a political party. You're dumping monsters like this into our community. You are actively subverting the will of the American people. You are actively harming us. You are an enemy combatant inside of this nation. You're not just a political party saying, you know, I like strawberry ice cream. I think we should have strawberry ice cream at the party. Someone else, well, no, I like Superman ice cream. I'd like to have Superman ice cream. You have a difference on opinion. You don't say, hey, I want ice cream. And the other says, yeah. How about I defecate in a bag for about a month and I keep it in the freezer and then I slowly defrost it. And then I'll mold those into fake ice cream things and serve that to you. How about no? They're not a legitimate political party anymore.
If you have any information about these 2 criminal illegal aliens or any other criminal illegal aliens, please call the ICE tip line at 866-DHS-2-ICE or visit the website at ice.gov to submit a tip.
All right. Well, I voted for that. This is a 5-minute chat with Jason Whitlock about MLK. It's a legacy of constant, forever, unabashed praise over everything for all time, and you must never question a thing, or what was going on with all of the accusations of orgies and criminal activity and forcible activity and Marxism, communism, etc. Play a clip of it real quick. Jason Whitlock bringing it up.
Okay, Junior, a socialist, a Marxist, or just a critic of the ills of capitalism?
He was a sneaky Marxist. People have to understand, if you are looking for Martin Luther King to say in writing or out of his own mouth, I am a communist, you'll be hard pressed to find that. And it seems to me, Delano, with all due respect, that that's exactly what you're looking for. King was taught to basically mask his communist sensibilities behind the social gospel. And he would say things like, this is the gospel that I will preach to the world, referring to the nationalization of industry, radical redistribution of wealth, guaranteed annual income, which was all part of this Fabian kind of incremental march through the institutions. That's what King envisioned. And that's what he set out to implement.
At the very least, he was the critic of the ills of capitalism. The idea that someone who's critical of capitalism in the 1960s make you a communist or Marxist is one that I think is hard for anyone to sustain. Do I expect King to say that he's a Marxist? No, I do not. But when he writes specifically of the incompatibility between Christianity and communism, and Chad's response is, well, of course he would say that he's a Marxist. Then at a certain point, this is a circular argument. What I find interesting is that Chad will believe King when he writes in his own words, when he denies the sort of bodily resurrection of Christ. And so when King writes about his theological views, Chad believes him. But when he writes about his economic views, specifically against communism, then he says, of course, that's what a lying communist would do.
I do have a question for you, Delano. Sure. Was Martin Luther King a Christian?
Do I believe he was a Christian?
Yes, was he a Christian?
The stated views on core Christian doctrine that I've seen from the writing of his own hands put him outside of biblical orthodoxy. If he never repented from those views, then I would not see him as someone who was spiritually regenerate. Okay. So I would answer that question in the negative.
What then do you want me to do with the statement that you just put out there that King said that there's no companionship between Christianity and communism? What am I to do with that if he wasn't a Christian?
I don't think you have to be a Christian to make that argument.
And you say that to say what exactly?
I'm saying that to say that the charge that you level against him of being a Marxist.
And by the way, I don't know. I've heard so many critiques about MLK. Which side do you stand on? What's true? I don't know. I'm just here to listen.
It insinuates that he's a Christian, though.
Well, he may very well have seen himself that way. You're asking me to judge his spiritual fitness 60 plus years after he drew his last breath. All I can go on is the things that he said. So if I hear somebody who says, no, I profess to be a Christian, but I reject substitutionary atonement, I object the bodily resurrection of Christ, I would say, that don't sound Christian to me. Now,
I mean, that's basically the core component of Christianity.
Well, that speaks to whether, but I think these are slightly different things, because someone can feel that they're a true believer. Someone can be but then that's a different question, because God is the ultimate judge. And what I'm saying is someone can be sincere in their beliefs, but their faith not be genuine.
That's why we have the word. That's why we have the Bible.
Right. But none of that discounts the fact that he was making a claim that one of the core tenets of communism is the rejection of organized religion. It's not just ambivalent to organized religion, it's hostile to it. And he was writing that this is one of the reasons why communism and Christianity are incompatible. Now, your response to that is King wasn't a Christian. Your response typically to that is he plagiarized it and he was lying. But what I'm saying is, when King writes about his theological views, which you and I would both argue put him outside of biblical orthodoxy, those things you believe.
Yeah, it's actually a moot argument, because the thing is, yes, I do tend to go.
Anyway, this goes on. It's an interesting debate. I encourage you to check it out. I don't know. What do you think about MLK? Well, how do you sum him up in a couple of sentences? Don't type anything I'm going to regret asking you this question about, okay? Behave, chat. All right, here's President Trump in Davos.
Past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years in which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. Think of that, 1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of investment. That's never been done by any country at any time, not even close. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies, it should be much higher. I really believe we can be much higher than that. And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet, and when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down, and you follow us up, and we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. Over the past 3 months,
he's out there as a spokesman. Obama and Biden would always be talking negative stuff, and Trump's talking positive stuff. It's about selling your country. It's about making deals. It's about being a good spokesperson for the country. Democrats are awful spokespeople for your communities and for your country. Trump's at least hyping us up and saying good stuff instead of all the negativity that the Democrats bring. All right, let's take a listen here. CNN talking about ICE.
On this very network during the 4 p.m. Eastern hour, a reporter was on the ground in Minneapolis, and he was explaining what he has seen with his own eyes, that during the day, yes, peaceful protesters exercising their First Amendment right. But what happens when the sun goes down? A new group of people, younger, come out, and in his words, are agitators. They are standing outside a federal facility where ICE agents are going to start their work or finish their work for the day, and these agitators are kicking the cars, hitting the cars, trying to cause problems, and we're not focused on that.
But I just also want to correct something. A complete
Do you want to correct something?
misrepresentation of what the reporter you were referencing, Shimon, was on ground in Minneapolis, and I saw the stand-up he did in the 4 p.m. Eastern hour. He absolutely did not say what you suggested he did. He was saying what he had been told. He's been on the ground bearing witness.
Said, I have
he
seen
didn't.
This,
the audience can look at it.
Agitators.
He didn't. He said
you
that what he's been told.
But
it's not about what I'd like, but I think of the liars at the table. I'm probably not in that category.
Wow.
And I'm also not a cult member where I regurgitate every talking point from the GOP.
Wow.
Okay, great.
Actually, you're right, Tiffany. Let the audience look at it.
But last night, what I witnessed was that many of the people who were out here, and they're not protesters, these are the agitators. They were trying to stop the cars from going in. They were kicking the cars. They were attacking the cars. And this went on for a while. And for the most part, federal law enforcement stood back. And they said, okay, let's see if this ends. And it didn't. And then finally, at around 11 Eastern, they had just had it. And that's when we got caught in the middle of the tear gas that was being thrown, the flashbangs that the federal law enforcement was here throwing to disperse the crowd. It really came as a surprise because for most of the time they were allowing the agitators to stay here, and the protesters.
Look at that, a report calling out the agitators. Good for you.
Who were in the street, and then eventually they had enough and they pushed people back. But that's where the flashpoints, Casey, occurred.
Yeah, so is she the liar? Is she the cult member that regurgitates whatever she's told by the mainstream media and her liberal handlers in the Democratic Party? Right? She called the guy next to her a cult member and a liar. So if that's how you're going to describe people that you believe are not telling the truth, which happens to be you, then you're the liar and you're the cult member and you're the one that regurgitates whatever the Democratic Party tells you. It's hilarious how Abby Phillips didn't even stop her. This is your own network, Abby. You let her tell a lie. You cut off every Republican every single time that you believe that they're telling a lie. You never let them finish. But Tiffany sits up there and tells a lie about your own network, and you just let her just blabble out the mouth. That's crazy.
That's crazy work. Lions of Liberty, our buddies over there. Not sure who they're talking to. It's Finding Freedom. I guess this is John Odermatt. Yep. Talking with Alvin Liu of Courage is a Habit. Take a listen to what's going on in our schools, how they're indoctrinating the kids, confusing the kids.
Trans flags, and you're like, why are you having this mental...
Hang on, let me go back, just so you can hear the very beginning. Talking about trans flags.
These trans flags, and you're like, why are you having this mentally ill flag, this sexual deviant flag this LGBTQ flag in schools. Why don't you take it down? Why are you having this politics? Why do you have BLM flags? They'll say, that's not politics. That's just being kind. That's just making kids feel belonging. You see how they hide behind that. So if I asked you, John, what would you think about, what do you imagine when I say a child's being abused? You're probably going to say beaten, burning with cigarettes, horrifically sexual abuse sometimes. They're starving. They have dirty clothes. Yeah, that's how we think about it. But they think about it as, John, if your son comes to you and says, Daddy, I think I'm a girl, and you're like, son, you're not a girl. Guess what? If your son goes to a school counselor and says, I'm afraid to tell my dad, I'm afraid to put on a dress, and the schools will have these transition closets, they'll give him a dress. Some schools do, not all schools do, but a lot of schools do.
My God.
And then they'll change out and they'll say, hey, when John and his wife comes to parent teacher conference, we're going to still call his son by his regular name, but during schools we're going to call Sam Susie because he's abusive.
Ridiculous.
He's unsafe. You see what I mean? These trans flags.
We've got to get into the schools. It's great catching Somali fraud, but we've got to fix our schools. You wonder where all these angry people are coming from. They've been brainwashed and suffering brain damage every day at the hand of the radical indoctrinators in our schools. Not every teacher is a radical indoctrinator. What do they say? The barking. What do they say about the barking dog is the one that you hit? I've had people yell at me, don't you know I'm in a relationship with a teacher? All of your stuff, you're blaming teachers for the problems in this country, and it's your fault. Don't you know there's a target on our back? I'm like, oh. Can I go out on a limb, since I've noticed you become much more radicalized in the past few years, that maybe your partner is radicalizing you, and maybe they're a radical, and maybe they're exactly the type of teacher, not every teacher, that I'm talking about, that's radically trying to brainwash, manipulate, cause brain damage, guilt and shame and confusion amongst our kids instead of teaching them how to be awesome young adults. The barking dog is the one that you hit with the rock, or something like that. What's that phrase? It's something like that. We've got to fix our schools. It is such a problem. All right, what is this? Even BlackRock CEO Larry Fink now admits that transitioning to solar and wind, well, what does he say about that?
The world is going to be short power. Short power.
Unless we do generation 3, generation 4, generation 5 nuclear. The generation that has had zero meltdowns, and it's just necessary for creating the power that we need.
And to power these data companies, you cannot have just this intermittent power like wind and solar. You need dispatchable power because you can't turn off and on these data centers. The world.
All right. Yet he's the founding father of DEI and green energy. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says, soy boy destroyer. D-List says the AI surveillance centers need more energy and water than any other industry. Andrew says, weird how saving the environment was the most important thing until data centers came along, and now they don't even pretend to care about the environment. And that's what I wanted to share with you on Instagram today. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Okay, what is the phrase, Lake Leon? A barking dog seldom bites. Means those who make the most noise or threats are often the least likely to take action. Well, that is true, and that's also kind of like the dog thing I was telling you about, as good as it gets. You know, you want the dog to stop barking, just give it a piece of bacon. Then he'll be your best friend. It's just a trick. But also, it is something about the what is, I'm going to look it up, because that's one of the dog idioms. Let's see if I can find it. The Dog barking loudest is the one you hit. Something like if you throw a rock into a pack of dogs, the one that yelps loudest is the one that you hit. It means when you make a general accusation, criticism, or pointed comment toward a group without naming anyone specifically, the person who reacts the most strongly, defensively, loudly, or guiltily is usually the one who is actually hit, i.e., the one that the remark truly applies to and feels guilty about it. That same person I was talking to you about the teacher thing, that's a person that yelled at me. After Charlie Kirk died, their side exploded Charlie Kirk, a future Republican president. The radical left explode Charlie Kirk and then got mad at me for pointing out how the poison of the left is causing political violence. So that dog barked at me. So yeah, I don't know if the teacher is one of the worst ones that I'm talking about. But boy, oh boy, did that dog bark. Boy, oh boy, did that dog yelp. Feeling guilty, dancing around, laughing at Charlie Kirk, saying he got what he deserved. He deserved it. Feel guilty about that, so you're yelling at me because you took out a future Republican president? It's a bold strategy, but I think you told on yourself. Yeah, that idiom should exist on Yelp. Marion says, so a data center can't go without power, but the lowly people can go without it for days? Okay, got it. Oh, yeah. Kenneth has been a radical since he shook his rattle. That's tough to say a few times fast. Hit like, hit subscribe, everybody. Please consider signing up to be a monthly Patreon supporter of the New American Media. Consider signing up to be a monthly member of Rumble and or YouTube. And thank you to everybody on Patreon, Rumble, and YouTube who are signed up as monthly members. Those are monthly reoccurring building blocks, Lego blocks that we can use to build a foundation of the funding apparatus to at least make sure we cover our expenses and then maybe cover the other expenses of life so that this can continue to be the endeavor that you enjoy. You know, got to work a full-time job for full-time wages. You know, we're not talking about how many 5-star cruises can we go on, how many lavish Rolls Royces can we park in our 20-car garage mansion. We're just talking about keeping the lights on, paying the bills. All of your support matters so much to me. It matters to the movement. Can't do it without the support. Otherwise, we got to go work a job 8 hours a day and can't do this for those 8 hours a day. And the show that you get, it's from scanning the stuff that people are talking about out there in the universe, distilling it and bringing it to you, and then incorporating your thoughts into it, along with original, unique, transformative commentary. So if you like the show, please consider signing up for a monthly supporter on Patreon, Rumble, or YouTube, as well as dropping us a tip. I'm here, your bartender. If you enjoy your time, throw a tip on the jar. Tip into the jar, throw a tip on the bar itself. Rumble rant, super chat. You can do both. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to our X feed and go through the stories. Of course, our Patreon link is linked right up here on Patreon. Link to Patreon is right here at the top of our X feed at American_media_. I talk about the awful, stupid, pointless division in our country, and the Obamas have been one of the worst things that has ever happened to the United States of America. It is a toxic, divisive, disappointing, illegitimate, nefarious scheme to divide this nation. And it just permeates everything about both of these Obamas. So here's the person that goes by the name Michelle Obama. Some people have wondered, like Joan Rivers, do we have our first gay president in Barack Obama? She said, everybody knows Michelle is a man. She's trans. Everybody knows. And then just in a couple of weeks, couple of days, couple of weeks, Joan Rivers was terminated, eliminated, erased. Maybe just it was a coincidence. Or maybe she let a cat out of the bag. Don't know. But it happened. And so here's Michelle Obama talking about, what's important when it comes to fashion.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. I think we can all do some work to think about that.
Do some work, think about
that balance in our wardrobes. What does our closet look like and who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we?
What does our closet look like and who's in it?
And who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we supporting in it? Right. And
who are you supporting in it?
I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, then you have the money to buy everybody. Right. And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice. Yeah.
Kira says this is the first black first lady, wife of the first black president, whole world in front of her, limitless opportunity of wealth and influence, and she's on the white women suck tour. What an absolute waste of a legacy. Pathetic. Hang on, let's listen.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know that they're a person of, what does our closet look like? And I think if you have the money, mindful.
John K. saying Michelle Obama gives a lecture to her friends about wisely choosing clothing based on the designer's skin color. Now that clip doesn't say anything about skin color. Let me be fair to Obama there. If that's what they're talking about, the clip doesn't explain that. She just can't help herself but to make everything about race. Here's Avery Day's take on this.
I think we should all be mindful and make sure that we're not purchasing clothes made by black designers. We need to pay attention to who's in our closets. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that racist?
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes. What does our closet look like and who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we supporting in it? Right. And I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, then you have the money to buy everybody. Right. And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice. Yeah.
Why do they hate white people so much? What a disgusting thing to say. What a racist thing to say. And Michelle Obama, since you're going to preach at us not to wear clothes from white designers, you better not be wearing clothes from white designers, right? Oh wait, this skirt she's wearing is made by Amelia Wickstead. That costs over $1,000 and is a white designer. The Democrats are so racist. They hate white people. Because truly, imagine if I said this about black people. Like, imagine if I was like, I'm not going to buy this because it's a black designer.
Now, I think what we do say is, I don't want to shop at Target because they're trying to push gender confusion on children's clothing, pushing gender confusion, sex confusion on kids. That's something the company's putting out there to push this, to promote this. Do you want to shop and spend your dollars there? That's about the ideology, not about any particular skin color or sex. Bud Light's putting someone who's pushing gender confusion on the nation as an advertising campaign, putting Dylan Mulvaney on the cover of their beer cans. America's like, well, I don't think we want to spend money there. Colin Kaepernick's out there misrepresenting America, policing, statistics, racism, all sorts of stuff, doing a me stunt to take away from the moment of unity where we do the national anthem. We put a hand over our heart and we join in solidarity, because even though we're enemies on the field, we're opponents on the field. We're all Americans. We're in this together. No, Kaepernick makes it about him, and they push it through Nike, ESPN, ABC, Disney, Nike, ABC, ESPN, Disney. And you say, you know what? I don't want to purchase products from Nike anymore if that's what they're going to push. Some of that makes sense. But generally saying, well, if a man didn't make it, I'm not buying it. Buy from women-owned businesses. Why are you discriminating against men? No, we're just helping then. Okay, so buy from men-only businesses. Ooh, it sounds a little weird. Why are you discriminating against women? No, that's what you told me the rules were. Well, we need to consider what's in our closet. Okay, well then buy from only white designers. Whoa, buddy, that's a weird stance to take, some would say. You say, wait, I thought that's what they were telling you to do. They told all of us that that's what you needed to do. You should only spend your money with people that look like you. That's what Obama just said. I don't know. I'll just say this, in that clip, she's implying it. If there's another part that connects the dots, and I think there may be, I'll still give the benefit of the doubt because I didn't hear her say the phrase that pays.
How about we just buy what we like? Why this hyper focus on race?
Yeah, just buy what you like. Content of your character, not the color of anyone's skin. It's the least relevant shit going on. Nobody cares what your skin looks like. Just be a good person. But the Democrats are addicted to pushing this hatred, addicted to it. And we are sick and tired of them pushing this division.
It's so gross. The Democrats are everything they claim we are. Racist.
Yep. Tell me, do you agree or disagree with Avery Dye on that one? I don't know who that is, but that is an excellent point. Okay, House has launched an investigation. Wait, I played this guy earlier. Did I play this exact clip?
This woman Ilhan Omar's net worth went up nearly $30 million. The question is how. Here's what we know. Omar's husband, a former political consultant, owns a venture capital.
Yes, we did cover this. So they're investigating now. Banchi says, I remember writing about Ilhan Omar funneling campaign money to the guy she was having an affair with years ago. It was allegedly over $1 million then, says Banchird State. She then married him, presumably giving her access to the money. Quite the scam. And it took until 2026 for Congress to notice. Kind of weird. President Trump says, he shared based Mike Lee, quoting, federal law is the problem here. A federal statute, the NVRA, has been wrongfully interpreted by the courts to prohibit states from seeking proof of citizenship. The SAVE Act would fix the problem. You can't default to federalism when federal law itself is the problem. Mike Lee says, my friend, the one who's kind of a big deal, President Trump, really liked my post about why the SAVE Act is both necessary and an appropriate exercise of federal power. President Trump gets it. The Senate must pass the SAVE Act ASAP. Please share if you agree. Yes, we got to maintain our elections. Agree. ICE here says you wouldn't want this MS-13 gang member from El Salvador as your neighbor. Today in Minnesota, ICE arrested Carlos Flores Miguel, four-time deported criminal, illegal alien, convicted sex offender, and assailant of federal law enforcement. Americans are made safer when criminal, illegal aliens like him are taken off of our streets. I agree. Pam Bondi issued a statement here about the blue slip process, making it impossible for Lindsay, his attorney, Lindsay Halligan, 120-day tenure as interim U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, and it's a mess. Carrie Lake chimes in and says, we can't look the American people in the eye and promise real justice for stolen elections, open borders, fentanyl flooding in, and corruption rotting our system, only to hand the keys to that justice over to radical Democrat senators who get veto power over President Trump's judicial appointees. Blue slips are a corrupt Senate tradition that must die right now so that we can restore law and order and take our country back. It's time to recalibrate the game, people. Arctic Smokescreen says the most dangerous mistake about Greenland is believing it's all about Greenland. We're told it's a diplomatic spat, a real estate obsession, a chaotic throwback to a 19th century imperialism. The press treats it as a spectacle. Commentators debate whether the administration is serious or simply trolling. Europeans express outrage at the affront to sovereignty. The whole affair is framed as noise, eccentric, embarrassing, ultimately inconsequential. The framing is comfortable and almost surely wrong. The conventional reading is that the Greenland saga, is diplomatic incompetence in real time. The administration threatens force, gets rebuffed, escalates, gets rebuffed again, then retreats to the language of a purchase. Commentators shake their heads. Europeans express bewilderment. What looks like flailing is a classic Trump-style negotiation sequence. You open with an outrageous demand precisely so that your real demand seems reasonable by comparison. It goes like this. Signal and acquisition. Denmark scoffs. Mention force. Denmark recoils. Insist on force, loudly and repeatedly. Denmark reaches peak indignation. Others come to their side, then pivot. A purchase offer that eliminates Denmark's entire national debt of $142 billion and nearly doubles Greenland's GDP, $450 billion. And suddenly the question is no longer how dare you, but wait, how much? The force rhetoric was never the plan, it was the anchor. Denmark is no longer defending sovereignty against an imperial aggressor. Denmark is evaluating a financial proposition. The frame has moved. And I feel crazy saying this. The math is not absurd. The deal properly pays for itself within a generation. The minerals alone are worth multiples of the purchase price. Well, yeah, if you don't let banksters steal them. Coming up, bud? No? Okay. Love you, buddy. The minerals alone are worth multiples of the purchase price. Greenland's 57,000 residents become millionaires on paper. Denmark sheds a fiscal dependent and erases its debt. The U.S. secures the rare earth supply chain for the military of the 2030s. What is actually underway is a supply chain annexation dressed in the costume of territorial ambition. The target is not an island. It is two geological formations in southern Greenland. Kvanefjeld in Tanbreeze that contain the heavy rare earth elements without which no advanced weapon system can be built. Dysprosium, terbium, names that mean nothing to the public but everything to the Pentagon. These elements are irreplaceable in the actuators of F-35 fighters, the guidance fins of precision munitions, the sonar arrays of Virginia-class submarines, and the permanent magnets of every electric vehicle motor. China controls over 90% of global processing. The United States controls almost none. The purchase of Greenland is not a land deal. It's an attempt to break a chokehold. In 2026, prediction markets have become the closest thing we have to honest price signals on geopolitical risk. And right now, they are telling us two different stories. Kalshi, the U.S. regulated exchange, prices the probability of American acquisition of Greenland at roughly 42%. Polymarket, the decentralized platform populated by global crypto natives and offshore speculators, prices it at 15 to 23%. This is not market inefficiency, but more a disagreement about the nature of power. The Kalshi bettors, institutional, U.S.-based, integrated into the American financial system, believe the administration will force the deal through. They are pricing coercion. The polymarket bettors, international, skeptical of American omnipotence, often operating outside U.S. jurisdiction, believe that European resistance will hold. They are pricing norms. The 20-point spread between the markets is the most important signal in the world right now. If Polymarket moves up to meet Kalshi, it means the global smart money has accepted that the U.S. will break international law to secure the Arctic flank. There is precedent for such acceptance. Weeks ago, a trader placed a $32,000 bet on the ouster of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and netted over $400,000 when U.S. forces captured him. The Maduro effect has recalibrated risk appetites across every geopolitical market. Traders are no longer pricing diplomatic negotiations. They are pricing hostile takeovers. The three-theater squeeze. By the way, I don't know if I agree or disagree with these things. It's an interesting take. It's well written. There's more to Greenland than meets the eye, it seems. Back to the article here. The three-theater squeeze. The average observer sees three separate news stories. A trade dispute with Europe, a strange fixation on Greenland, and some localized internet outages in the Baltic. These are not separate stories. They are three fronts of a single conflict. The resource front. The administration is securing the mineral inputs for the military of the 2030s. The Tanbreeze deposit, rich in heavy rare earths, free of uranium complications, owned by Western interests, is the crown jewel. The neighboring Kvanfeld deposit, which has Chinese equity participation through Sheng Resources, is the problem to be neutralized. Control of Greenland solves both. On the economic front, the tariffs announced against Denmark, France, Germany, the UK, and 4 other European nations are not protectionist measures. They are precision-guided economic strikes against political dissenters. The 31 billion euro US-UK tech prosperity deal, Microsoft's data centers, Google's research and development investment, has been suspended indefinitely. The message is unambiguous. Alignment with American geopolitical objectives is the price of American capital. Now, on the kinetic front, while diplomats argue over tariffs, Russian vessels drag anchors across the Baltic telecommunications cables. The cargo ship Fitzburg, seized by Finnish and Estonian authorities, is part of the Shadow Fleet. Vessels with opaque ownership that operate below the threshold of open war. These are not accidents. They are shaping operations, mapping vulnerabilities, demonstrating the capacity to sever digital infrastructure that binds the Western alliance together. The average observer sees chaos. The intelligence reality is coherence, resource acquisition, economic coercion, and kinetic preparation, operating in concert. The rules-based mirage. The European response to all of this has been to invoke international law, sovereignty, and the rules-based order. These invocations are emotionally satisfying. They're also strategically meaningless. International law functions only among actors who agree to be constrained by it. It assumes a mutual understanding of legitimacy, a shared framework of rules, and an enforcement mechanism capable of compelling compliance. None of these conditions hold. There is no global sovereign. There is no monopoly on force. Agreements endure only until interests diverge. The United States has decided that securing rare earth supply chains is more important than maintaining the post-war settlement with Europe. The prediction markets have priced this in. The cable sabotage operations have demonstrated it. The tariff announcements have made it explicit. European leaders can invoke norms. They cannot enforce them. The actors who openly reject the framework, whether by dragging anchors across undersea cables or by demanding territorial concessions under economic duress, gain advantage over those who internalize constraints the other side does not recognize. This is the asymmetry of the current moment. It is not new. Thucydides identified it 25 centuries ago. The strong do what they can, and the weak suffer what they must. The innovation of 2026 is the speed at which the mask has slipped. So the signal and the noise. The public narrative offers comfort. This is chaos, incompetence, a diplomatic embarrassment that will resolve itself. The operational reality offers none. The U.S. is annexing a supply chain. Europe is being coerced into alignment. Russia is probing the infrastructure that holds the alliance together. The public is fragmented across information silos that prevent collective response. Prediction markets are pricing outcomes that official discourse still treats as unthinkable. The statements in the press are not meaningless, but they're rarely decisive. The decisive forces operate quietly, guided not by norms, but by leverage, not by law, but by geology, not by principle, but by the irreducible logic of who controls the inputs for the next generation of weapons. This is an excellent read. Winston Marshall chimed in on this article saying the Greenland issue has exposed 2 fundamental misconceptions widely held by European elites. Number 1, that the rules-based world order ever existed. No, it was only ever a mirage. American might and money kept Europe afloat. 2, It is America causing the turbulence and threatening world stability. No, America is in a Thucydides trap. The threat to the world is China. U.S. are acting in response. This article is good. I think it is good. And Howard Lutnick talking to about globalism in Davos. Jim Ferguson says globalism just died in Davos. Here's Howard Lutnick walking into the lion's den, telling the World Economic Forum exactly what they didn't want to hear. We are changing the game, people.
Okay. We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
Yep, sold out. Absolutely sold out. Gad Sad calls it suicidal empathy. I call it treasonous acts. You can call it malfeasance. You can call it ineptitude. You can call it tomfoolery. You can call it naivete. There's a million descriptors. They're all bad. Don't do it. Don't allow it. Greenland, shouldn't it be called Whiteland? Yeah, if Trump gets it, they'll call it Orangeland. Whiteland because of the snow, I assume. Lake Leon says Greenland was named by Eric the Red, a Norse explorer who settled there around the end of the 10th century. Eric the Red believed that a pleasant-sounding name would encourage people to migrate to the island. Yeah, they called Iceland Greenland. They called the icy lands Greenland. And they called the Greenlands Iceland to discourage people from finding it. At least that's a story I've heard. So yeah. Howard Lutnick declared, not whispered or softened, he declared that globalism failed. Offshoring hollowed out the West. Cheap labor destroyed innovation. Net zero made Europe dependent on China. Sovereignty begins with borders. Nations must control their industry, energy, and medicine. Why would Europe agree to net zero when they don't even make a battery? That's the truth.
Okay.
Globalists.
We are in Davos.
That's the truth that globalists can't answer. Green agendas without industry. Climate pledges without sovereignty. Moral posturing while outsourcing power to Beijing. America First isn't isolation, it's independence. And Lutnick made it crystal clear. The old model is finished. The globalist experiment failed, and the future belongs to nations that put their people first. Davos just heard the obituary live. I don't know what this story is here. Michael Brown, Jacob Blake, Jussie Smollett, Kyle Rittenhouse, hate crime hoax. There's some story about an innocent 57-year-old American citizen dragged from his home in sub-zero temperatures. Nothing but shorts and Crocs. It's not keeping anyone safe. There were S criminals DHS was looking for who lived there or right in the area and were described by DHS in writing as living there. They're pictured below. Lu Mawa and Kong Meng Vang. Even in this context, the Asian grandpa was only treated harshly because he was a tough old guy who refused to be fingerprinted, etc., and was walked to a car, blanket already around Pops, heat on there for an hour or so of questions. But they will continue repeating this complete plate of hot crap until it sticks in the mind of low-info voters. That's the goal. That's the only goal. Never think these MF reptiles want sweet and good. Everything's propaganda. They're going to throw it in your face. Go, can you believe what they did to that guy? You mean they took him out and it was cold and he was in his Crocs and boxers and they talked to him for an hour and they were looking for some real bad people? You want that? That's the Gestapo, dude. If you support ICE, you're for the Gestapo. No, that's an isolated incident that we can discuss. Anyway, back to finding the 40 million illegal alien invaders. What do you propose we do to make sure we have fewer of those incidents while we tag and bag every illegal alien invader? You are in favor of that, right? You're in favor of sovereignty and freedom, aren't you? You're not a tyrant, are you? I just, for the life of me, don't understand where some of these perspectives are, but we're going to bring it up tomorrow when we talk about ICE. Michelle Tafoya worked the sidelines for years as a sports reporter. Now she's running for U.S. Senate in Minnesota. There you go. Clay Travis says, running as a Republican, the state desperately needs at least one sane leader. And I could agree to that. Stephen Crowder with a really good point here. Europe wants protection, but they haven't met their NATO commitment. So what are we talking about with Greenland? What are we talking about with these trade wars and recalibrating World Economic Forum and all these globalist shams? Well, let's break it down. Talk about the details. Stephen Crowder on Louder with Crowder.
They haven't met their NATO commitment, a contract that they're supposed to honor. Instead, they've been spending it on their social programs. So things like, in Sweden, for example, 480 days parental leave. Both parents.
Oh, wow.
Oh, geez. Both parents. Germany, free public universities for everyone, including international students. Huh. And internet. In France, 25% of the government budget is spent on public pensions. Hey! How about the United States never has to implement any austerity measures at any point in time until you guys cut this shit out? People, hey, you're the only place that doesn't have paternity leave. Yeah, or Sweden says, we have 480 days where both parents are gone. Okay, we're not going to protect you at all. How about that? That's our money. We're footing the bill, 2/3 of all NATO spending. And both parents in Sweden get a year off? And you're still not, by the way, at replacement rates. So, what are we getting for this? The arrogance, and we would see this from Canada too. You have to, they're spending plenty of money, just not on the commitment they've made to us.
Yep. Good for them spending that money on things that they're supposed to be spending on us. Context added, 2014 NATO commitment that every member country should spend at least 2% of their GDP for the defense and military by 2024 was met by every single member in 2025, it says. Somewhat, because it's easy to understand. I don't know how true it is.
They haven't met their NATO commitment.
Okay. President Trump talking about Europe, how things have changed, not for the better.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good. but it's not heading in the right direction. In recent certain
Trashed, violence, abuse. It's a different country than it used to be. All right, who's this lady? Wall Street Apes really likes this. Listen to every word they say. So let's take a listen to every word of this lady. Talking to the white liberals out in the streets.
To every white liberal out in the streets claiming to fight white supremacy and stand up for Black and Hispanic people, go home. Everything you're doing is making life harder for the people you claim to support. Look around you. How many Black and Hispanic people are actually standing beside you right now? Because I promise you this, if Black people feel the need to fight for something, we know how to do that. We fought when dogs were unleashed on us. We fought when pressure washers were used to rip the skin off our bodies. We fought when we couldn't walk down the street without the threat of being lynched. We fought not to be oppressed anymore. And what you do stupefies people into thinking we still are. And Hispanics, they don't need you either.
Oh, telling the awfuls, the affluent white, angry white, affluent white, liberal woman. Liberal, white, woman liberal.
50% of Latinos voted for Trump. Why? Because they and their families came here legally, did things the right way, and are tired of watching illegal immigrants get rewarded while they follow the rules. A lot of them live on the border and see what happens when there's an unhealthy influx of illegal immigrants in this country. They want deportations too. Your white privilege isn't helping anyone because it doesn't even exist, and believing that people of color can't stand up for themselves without your privilege leading the way is one of the most racist ideas there is. Google the white savior complex.
The white savior complex. Whoa, rewind that. That is so good. Lady, slow down just a little bit. That is such a good point. Nimbus, you jumping up? Yeah, come on. Come on. Let's go. There we are. There's Nam. Jumping in the program. He had another snack. Nimbus eats when he needs to eat. This lady's good, though. Yeah, tell me with anything that anybody can't do in this country right now in 2026. You can't. Everybody's capable of anything.
Too. Your white privilege isn't helping anyone because it doesn't even exist.
Your white privilege isn't helping anyone because it doesn't exist. She continues.
And believing that people of color can't stand up for themselves without your privilege leading the way is one of the most racist ideas there is. Google the white savior complex. White
God, it's so good.
Guilt has been imposed on you so deeply to the point that you feel like it's your duty to hold up posters and vandalize things with your delusions, leading people to think I support it because of my skin color. Get it? Stop. Go home. And get a job. It's Tuesday.
Get a job. It's Tuesday. Who is this and how do I follow this person?
To every white liberal out in the streets claiming...
I mean, that was a lot. Let's see. Let's tag Wall Street Apes. Who is this lady and how can we follow her? I didn't see her stuff tagged. That's pretty good, though. President Trump making it clear we're trying to make a deal. We're not looking for trouble.
all we want from Denmark for national and international security and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
You better remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. Canada lives because of the United States, and I'd appreciate a little respect. Okay, I'm totally getting the Godfather vibes on this. Maybe this isn't the clip you're talking about, but this is total Godfather vibes.
Going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. What we did for Israel was amazing, but that's nothing compared to what we have planned for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. We are going to build a dome like no other. We did it for Israel. All we want.
Ending that on "we did it for Israel" is a wild clip there. Katie Pavlich says Trump's crusade against windmills at Davos is what I've been waiting for. He points out that China sells them to stupid people. Here's Howard Lutnick talking about how U.S.-Taiwan deals, including $250 billion investment. But the whole U.S. antibiotics industry was dead until the Trump donor and patriot Rick Jackson bought U.S. antibiotics out of bankruptcy, a deal that personally cost him millions of dollars, but he's helping President Trump save a critical industry now. I can't believe we didn't have this under lockdown under the last administration, except they wanted us weak and invadable. Now we're strong, and you better not F.A.
Antibiotics are made in China.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We can't have an adversary, right, who, God forbid, there's a conflict that we have to rely upon. It just doesn't make sense. So we need to reshore those things. We need to reshore our pharmaceuticals. So when the president is out talking about pharmaceuticals, he's talking about protecting us. God forbid we need it. We learned it all in COVID, right?
Yeah.
Right? We couldn't even get masks. We couldn't get like hospital gear.
Yeah.
It was outrageous. So now we're paying attention to it. And President Trump's the only president who's got the guts, who's got the stamina, says, look, I'm just going to fix the whole thing for America. And that's why it's great to work in this administration. You know, we are literally fixing the things that make no sense in America. We don't make semiconductors. We don't have pharmaceuticals. I mean, come on. We don't do manufacturing. We need to have jobs in America for our great people. Let's bring those jobs back home.
Yeah.
Our antibiotics are made in China.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Man, I got Mr. Bean over here looking for attention too. Mr. Nimbus up here on the no, don't step on the keyboard, remember? And this here, if you want to go there, you do that. Walk ahead. Come on, take a couple steps. Take a couple. There you go. All right, bud. Love you, bud. Okay. More Trump on the World Economic Forum about Greenland.
I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark. Tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States. We're a great power, much greater than people even understand. I think they found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II, when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting and was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland. So the United States was then compelled, we did it, we felt an obligation to do it, to send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory, and hold it we did at great cost and expense. They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried. Denmark knows that. We literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark. We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We were fighting to save it for Denmark. Big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice. But we saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also.
Strategic, self-defense.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got him in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China.
Dude. Saying you think you're safe? You think you're good to go? No. You saw that, right? This is the way things are going to be. We're going to recalibrate things. Wow. Yeah, this is sort of Godfathery.
So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess. Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory that's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. Wasn't important nearly when we gave it back. You know, when we gave it back, it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not important for any other reason, you know, everyone talks about the minerals. There's so many places. There's no rare earth. No such thing as rare earth. There's rare processing, but there's so much rare earth. And to get to this rare earth, you got to go through hundreds of feet of ice. That's not the reason we need it. We need it for strategic national security and international security.
I mean, you know, Trump's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He was going on and on and on and on and on about rare earths that whole first year. Now it's like, it's got nothing to do with rare earth. It's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. But like you said, it's less rare earth. It's more rare processing. There's rare earth everywhere. And it's like, just what extent, what expense will people go to and what technology is needed to go extract it? I get it on that point, but it's not like it doesn't matter. Of course it matters. You made it a key cornerstone of your first year.
Enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere, and we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now. That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland for nearly 2 centuries.
And now he's trying to make it happen. Just like, all right, make Jerusalem the capital of, or make it the embassy site. Well, we're going to talk about it for 100 years. How about just do it in 70 years? Yeah, you can just do things. You can do things. This whole thing where you can't make a move. Nobody can make any decision to do anything. It's just very weird. And this guy does things, which seems like a good idea. We won it for them and gave it back. Why did we give it back? Why didn't we just keep it? Can we cut a deal now? Are they open to it? I think so. House Oversight Committee says they're moving forward with contempt. Tune in at 10 a.m. on X as Oversight Committee votes to hold Bill and Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress for defying lawful subpoenas. No one is above the law. So keep your eyes peeled. We might be talking about that real soon. More Bill and Hillary Clinton. Maybe it'll be a headline story on tomorrow's show. President Trump talks about how Biden got there for the past 4 years, cutting these ridiculous deals with World Economic Forum leaders, because that's not the will of the people. And he says this specifically.
It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found.
Is this, is he talking about Russia, Ukraine?
Found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did.
Okay. Don't effing toy with me, President Trump. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. Will they really?
Knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections, and a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible.
Oh, it is. I agree. Matt Van Swole says the Buncombe County Board of Elections voted unanimously to allow Asheville, North Carolina Vice Mayor Antoinette Mosley to run for office, despite evidence that Matt Van Swole found that she voted in 2 different states for nearly a decade, voted in a Democratic primary in North Carolina and a Republican primary in Georgia in the same year, claimed a property tax break only eligible for primary residences in Georgia. The Board of Elections concluded none of those issues were relevant for her 2026 election run. Perhaps even more shocking is the man who brought the challenge against Antoinette, John Mayall, was personally discriminated against in Asheville because he was white. Are Democrats ever held accountable? Well, doggone it. Keep your eyes peeled there. Eric Trump out there talking about an interesting scam. Why does trading shut down on a weekend?
I mean, the big banks have been an absolute monopoly over our financial system for years. You and I have joked about it 1,000 times. You know, why can't you send a wire transfer past 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon? You know why? Because the big banks would love to take, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars and have it sit there and clip interest off of it over the course of a long weekend, you know, as opposed to letting you just efficiently move that money using modern day technology, you know, and have it in a separate wallet 2 seconds later. They want to be able to use their money. They want to be able to arbitrage their money. And so, you know, the big banks are doing everything they can to stop some of the crypto legislation for obvious reasons. Why? I mean, the big banks have been an absolute monopoly over our financial system.
I got no love for the banksters. Zero. Steve Witkoff just stated that the U.S. is not negotiating with the Iranian regime, but there have been contacts. He says, as they posted on the electronic billboard yesterday in Tel Aviv, Mr. President finished the job. The only contacts worth making now are bombs on Khomeini's bunker. And I guess troops are being, assets have been deployed to the region and they're just about to land. So keep your eyes peeled in the next week on Iran. I hope to have a show maybe this Saturday, maybe Sunday, with 2 guests lined up to do a deep dive into Iran. So yes, there's daily news to cover, but I do want to get back to interviewing guests on a wide variety of topics. So stay tuned. I've been working on this for a couple weeks. 2 guests to discuss Iran. Persia, we can call it. Persia. Woman in Ohio undercover video brags about $50,000 bribes to Ohio judges to fast-track asylum claims for migrants, according to MJ Truth Ultra. Patricia Golder at the center of the operation, allegedly. Cindy Reese. It's a whole thing. Watch it. It's on Town Hall. J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance expecting their 4th child. Congratulations. And I think that's where I'm going to wrap it today. A lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of stuff. I could do 2 more hours. I really could. But alas, got to hunker down and get ready for this barrage at the center of the storm. You got this big wave of weather coming in. Make sure you're prepared. Have a little bit of a game plan together. Check in on your neighbors. Make sure they're okay. That's a big part of it, okay? And if you want to check in with me, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all scrolling at the bottom of the screen, as well as Rumble rants and Super Chats and Patreon monthly subscriptions. Please consider your support. Thank you to everybody who has and everybody who will. So yeah, a lot going on in the news. I really did almost fly up to Minneapolis. Anyway, I'll keep you posted on things. I suspect this is going to be a very interesting year. And stay tuned. Stay tuned for more. Kenneth, a great way to end the show. I ran out of jokes. Yeah, only because you ran out of time. That's pretty funny. All right, I'm going to sign out now on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. Thanks for watching. Be back tomorrow. I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.